Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am calling the June 17th, 2025 meeting of the Altadena Town Council to order. The time is 7 o'clock on the dot. To start our evening, and in the spirit of our 50th anniversary, we are inviting back former council members. Tonight, to introduce our opening reflection, I am pleased to welcome back Antonio Becerra. Antonio is a longtime Altadenan living on the west side in Census Tract 4610. Fortunately, the family home is still standing despite the devastating fire. Antonio served as a council member from 2018 to late 2020. Since then, he's earned 2 master's degrees, completed the American Express Leadership Academy and the High-Tech Emerging Executive Leadership Program. He now serves on the board of a local health center clinic, advising on his expertise in healthcare, public policy, and IT. Welcome back, Antonio. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Victoria, Nick, and Town Council for the honor to lead the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now and let the record show that the son of immigrant parents from Mexico and U.S. citizens today led the pledge. So if you may please place your right hand over your heart and
I'm
repeat.
sorry, Antonio. We're actually going to have you introduce Shay, who has an alternate to the pledge tonight.
Okay.
If you
Nick,
could go ahead and read.
Nick,
Yep, we can do both.
Can we do both? Can we do the
Of course.
pledge and then have Antonio introduce Shay for the reflection?
Sounds good. Move forward,
Great. Go
Antonio.
ahead,
Thank you,
Antonio.
Chair.
Okay. I'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance. So repeat after me. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands. One nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Shay Yancey. Shay Yancey is a lifelong Westside Altadenan. She went to Jackson Elementary School and John Muir High School, where she then stayed local at the amazing Pasadena City College and then transferred to Cal State Los Angeles. She is known for going out of her way for neighbors and community and is not one to shy away from challenges and battles. Please welcome Shay Yancey.
Good evening, everyone. I wrote a poem named Altadena, My Brave and Bright Beginning. In rainbow hues, I dance with pride, a heart unchained, no need to hide. Love is loud and I am free, gay and golden, joyfully me. Then comes the drum of history's song, black and bold, I march along. With roots that rise from struggle's ground, I lift my voice, deep, strong, and sound. Altadena, cradle wide, held my truth with arms of pride. Phoenix flame from ashen pain, I soared through smoke and rose again. No fear, no pause, no need to flee. This town made room for all of me. So here I stand in light and flame, Altadenian, proud of name. From the ashes once I rose in grace, Altadena, my sacred space. She held me close, she knew my name, and let me rise without shame. So here's to us, to love unchained, to voices lifted, unrestrained. Happy Pride and Black History too, from one Phoenix to the proud and true, with love from a grateful Altadenian.
Oh, Shay, that was so lovely. Round of applause. We're all applauding you. Thank you. Love your heart, love your spirit, and love that you were here with us again tonight.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
All right, we are moving on to roll call. And with that, our recording secretary, Kim Yu.
Good evening, council members. As I call your name, please say present or here. Councilmember Connor Sepola,
Connor
Present.
is he here or he was running a couple late? Oh, he's here.
Here.
Oh, he
yeah,
is.
as I am.
Sorry,
Victoria Knapp,
present.
Nick Arnzen,
Present.
Melissa Morona,
Present.
Dorothy Wong,
Here.
John Carmody, do we see John? No. Okay, no John. Darlene Green.
Present.
Wonderful. Councilmember Isis Molden.
Present.
Great. Jafina Musson is excused.
Excused.
Yvette Stewart Gordon,
Present.
Pat Sutherland,
Here.
Reggie Wilkins.
Hello, howdy, here, present.
Hi, Reggie. Councilmember Diane Marguson has an excused absence, I believe, and Councilmember Sylvia Vega.
Here.
Wonderful. And that concludes roll call.
And we have a quorum. And we are moving on to the approval of the June 17th meeting agenda. Vice Chair Arnzen. Nick, you're muted.
Thank you, Chair. Before I go into details about the agenda, we have a lot of guests tonight, but I believe we have more on the Zoom than I'm expecting. So if you are not a speaking guest, I ask that you remove yourself from the Zoom. You can view the meeting through the YouTube page, Pasadena Media. Look up Altadena Town Council. And I promise my next part is boring. You won't miss anything, so please join us there. Tonight's agenda was sent out to the community on Saturday, June 14th through our community partners, social media, and posted to our websites. It includes directions to submit public comment. Comments received through noon today will be read into record during our public comments section. Public comments are limited to 2 minutes. Council members, the Altadena Town Council Executive Committee met on Thursday, June 5th to set the agenda for tonight's meeting. That agenda was circulated to you on Saturday, June 14th. I have the following corrections or additions, and there's quite a few. In Section 3, Safety Reports, Item 3.3, LA County Fire Report will be given by Assistant Chief Springle. In Section 4, Community Reports, Item 4.3, Parks will be given by Guillermo Portilla. Also, Section 4, add Item 4.6 as Public Works with Giancarlo Sergey giving an update on the Lincoln Avenue bridge work. Section 5, Special Presentations, strike Item 5.1. Chief Berlant will join us in July. For Item 5.2, which then becomes 5.1, Regional Planning, we have Mitch Glazer giving the report. Section 6, Committee Reports. Strike Land Use Committee Report. Chair Marcuson will provide a full update next month and shift all reports appropriately in number. And in Section 8, Census Tract Reports, please add these two reports, 4603.02 as item 8.4 and 4612 as 8.5. Are there any further modifications tonight?
Vice Chair, will you repeat the name of our presenter from Public Works?
Public Works is Giancarlo Sergey. Giancarlo is on screen for spelling of the name if you like.
Thank you.
Hearing and seeing no additional changes, I move the agenda be approved with said changes.
Chair Knapp. I
Second.
second with the changes included.
We have an motion and a second. All in favor, say aye or wave your hand.
Aye.
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 Let's see if we catch everyone. Anyone opposed to the agenda? I see no one. And anyone abstaining? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Vice Chair. All right, we are moving on with our agenda to my chair's report. Let me just click out of here so we're all on the same screen. There we go. Good evening, council members and neighbors. As we gather tonight, I want to begin by recognizing that Altadena is in a period of healing. Our town has endured significant challenges and the road to recovery is underway. Rebuilding has begun, not just the physical structures we've lost, but the sense of stability and community that defines who we are. Many of our neighbors are still displaced, navigating uncertainty while trying to regain a sense of normalcy. To those families and individuals, please know that you are not alone. This council and the community stand with you. We've also suffered the loss of several beloved small businesses, each one a vital thread in the fabric of Altadena. These were more than just shops or restaurants. They were gathering places, dreams realized, and sources of daily connection. Their absence is deeply felt. But I also want to lift up the spirit of resilience. Some of our businesses have reopened their doors, continuing to serve our community with dedication and heart. I urge all Altadenans to support these businesses, not just this week, but every week. Let's make it a point to shop, dine, and spend locally. And I encourage you to invite your friends from Eagle Rock to Sierra Madre, from Pasadena to La Cañada and beyond to do the same. Let's show our business community that Altadena stands behind them and beside them. To our local business owners, thank you. Thank you for your courage, your service, and your belief in this community. Your perseverance is a cornerstone to our recovery. This Thursday marks Juneteenth, a day of reflection and celebration of freedom and resilience in Black American history. It commemorates the emancipation of the last enslaved African Americans in 1865, more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. It is a day to honor the struggle, the triumphs, and the ongoing pursuit of equity and justice. The sold-out Altadena Historical Society's 4th annual Juneteenth luncheon will be a meaningful and joyful gathering. Let's come together in celebration, community, and remembrance. Finally, to those who are rebuilding, we see you, we support you, and we wish you strength, success, and good luck in the weeks and months ahead. Let's keep moving forward, Altadena, together. And that concludes my report. Vice Chair Arnzen? You're on mute, Nick. You're still on mute, Nick.
We go. I was on a different screen.
No worries.
Thank you, Chair. The Vice Chair report, I just want to take a minute to highlight the ACONA meeting coming up a week from tonight. ACONA will be sending out the link for the meeting, and I will have it posted to the ACONA website as well, aconaonline.org. I mention it because this month ACONA will be taking a deeper dive into the SCE rebuild work and future plans. ACONA will touch on that in the meeting. SCE will be touching on that in the meeting tonight. And next week, we'll give an opportunity for more detail and direct questions submitted from the public. Again, see the website for the link, and you can submit your question ahead of time or in the chat during the meeting, aconaonline.org. Also, June is Pride Month. We recognize there are significant struggles faced by our LGBTQ plus community during this time. Displacement is difficult for everyone. Add to that a traditionally marginalized community that has carefully created a safe space to be their authentic selves. Now, many have no idea who their neighbors are. Many LGBTQ plus emerging youth don't know who some of the other school attendees are. And in today's political climate, and with the rash of legislative and rhetorical attacks at the highest level of government, their feeling of familiarity and safety is shaken. This is a population who data shows suffers at significantly higher rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide. So please, make efforts to reach out and be sure they know you support them in this difficult time for all of us. We also recognize there are many other marginalized communities that are feeling increased pressure and anxiety during this time. We stand with our immigrant community. We happily share this month with Juneteenth celebrations, and we relate to all those feeling an historic and generational trauma that this country seems to have a hard time reconciling and offering reparations for. Our journeys and struggles are as unique as each individual, but we stand united in the feeling of oppression and the attacks on our simply being our authentic selves. Combined, we make up the majority of this town, and we stand together as a diverse and resilient Altadena. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair, and congratulations to you and your committee on a very successful Pride. It was certainly necessary and wanted and needed, and it brought people together in good spirit, good faith, and community. So thank you so much for your hard work. Recording Secretary, you are up with the minutes.
Council members, last Friday, I sent out the meeting minutes draft for the May meeting.
Recording in progress.
Then I have received some corrections from Councilmember Sutherland. If there are any other, please let me know now. Otherwise, I motion to approve the minutes with the changes brought forth by Councilmember Sutherland.
Second.
I heard a second from Councilmember Morona. Thank you so much. All in favor of approving the minutes as amended by Councilmember Sutherland, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any council members abstaining because of any reason or from absence last month? I see that's Councilmember Molden. And anyone opposing? Great, thank you so much. Okay, we are moving on to our treasurer's report. Treasurer Morona.
Good evening. We had no transactions this month, so our balance continues to be $3,084.18. We look forward to when we are in person so that we could pass around our can yet again. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And just for clarification, since this is an appropriate time to mention it, we likely will be back in person in August. Many of the departments that were previously housed at the DRC are going to be housed at the community center for the balance of June and July. So that we will see you all there, hopefully in person by August. Thank you, Councilmember Morona. Corresponding Secretary Chipola.
Thank you, Chair. Just a short report for you today. A brief comment on how the sausage gets made here at Council. You'll notice in the months since the fire that we have brought many letters that we have sent that were voted for via email before being presented here at the meeting. We want you guys to know that that is done when expedience is needed to meet a deadline or to meet a vote for another governing body. And it is our intention, whenever time allows, to bring those more fully here to the public view. In the cases where we haven't, time just didn't allow it. In the case of the letter that was sent to, to Sheriff Luna, the vote was taken and some feedback was given. That feedback was received and put into effect to change the letter, but it did not go back to the council for another vote. It's our understanding that may have changed the vote of some of our council members. So we just want to recognize that, both that we are receiving your feedback and putting it into action, but that maybe it should have come back to, not maybe, it should have come back for another vote. So we recognize that this is new waters for us, and so we're doing the best we can, and hang in there with us. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Chipola. We are now going to introduce our public safety reports, starting with Acting Captain Marquez.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay. We actually right now are starting a search and rescue operation for up in the hills. So if there is a helicopter, you may or may not hear one right now. I was going to play the video of the trespassing video that we created at the station. It takes about 2 minutes, so I'll go ahead and play it so everybody can see it. We put it out on social media.
Due to the unprecedented Altadena fire, our community suffered the devastating loss of many homes. In response to this tragedy, we are compelled to find innovative and cost-effective solutions, not only to help protect the remaining properties, but also to support the residents during the rebuilding process. Hello, my name is Ethan Marquez. I'm the acting captain of Altadena Sheriff Station. Trespassing is a crime, but did you know there's a powerful tool you can use to help us take action? It's called the letter of agency. The letter of agency gives deputies the legal authority to enter your property and arrest or remove individuals for trespassing, even if you're not there. This letter empowers law enforcement the ability to enforce the law under California Penal Code 602, allowing for the arrest and prosecution of suspects without delay. Here's what you need to do to protect your property from trespassers, even if your home has been removed and a cleared lot remains. First, install a fence or physical barrier around your property. A 6-foot chain link fence would be ideal. However, we understand that's a costly solution. So we suggest installing a barrier or fence such as this orange 4-foot in height construction fence. This type of fencing is sold in hardware stores or can be purchased online. Second, post visible and no trespassing signs. We suggest no less than 5 signs around your property and illuminate them with solar landscape lights. However, based on your property, you may need to install more. Third, file a letter of agency at Altadena Sheriff Station. This is the final component and legally necessary. It's quick, easy, and effective. You need to bring a valid government-issued identification and a document that shows that you own the property. We will require a cell phone number and address to contact you. If you see any suspicious activity, call 911 or the Altadena Sheriff Station's non-emergent number at 626-798-1131. Your safety comes first. Don't confront trespassers, let law enforcement handle it. This isn't just about security, it's about safety. Partner with us, and together we can keep Altadena safe for everyone.
Okay, so that was the video we published. It's really a mechanism to help the residents in the event of trespassing or squatting. We know that it is not a mechanism to keep people from keeping people out of your property. Even if we did put up a chain link fence or a wall, criminals that are going to, if the property is unoccupied, they're going to get over that or get around that or just cut it down. So it is just a mechanism to give us a legal way of keeping, say, a squatter setting up a RV on your property and removing them. If I don't have that, it's going to be very difficult for us we're not going to get you out there in the public, right in front of the person. You're going to tell them you're trespassing, you need to leave, and it's a cumbersome process. And this is a way to keep you out of the situation and have to be right there telling them to leave face to face. I guess I'm sure there'll probably be some questions that I can answer later, but I'm going to move on really quick. Our numbers are looking very, very good. As of the numbers we're reporting for residential burglaries are down to 20. And that's a significant decrease from the height. It's 39% decrease from April. And right now we're on track to be, if our numbers continue the way they are, they're going to be much, much lower than we had in December 2024. So we've made significant arrests. We've performed a lot of search warrants. And we've one of the problems with when the fires were going on is our detectives were helping out with the fires and other issues going on in Altadena, and didn't have an opportunity because we had to leave the station for a while as well to actually conduct investigations, and we lost the mechanisms to get some information just to identify who these burglars were. But since residents are coming back, we're getting more and more help from the community. We're able to ID some people and make significant arrests, helping out, and we're going to continue to do that. If we do, last week we performed a search warrant. That was us in conjunction with our Narcotics Bureau, and I think there was a couple questions whether it was ICE. I have not heard any reports of ICE being in Altadena. I don't expect them to be in Altadena. They're not going to tell me if they're coming to Altadena, but if it does say sheriff on our uniforms, then that is us conducting the search warrant. It is not ICE. We do not perform search warrants with ICE. We don't work with the federal government that often. and it's very, very rare. But we have not, to my knowledge, we have not done anything with ice, and I don't think we will be doing anything with ice. So I just kind of get that out of the equation right now. That's about it. I kind of went fast because I played the video. Do you have any questions for me?
Council members, do you have any questions? You can raise a quick hand if you do. And I did just want to say thank you to you, your deputies, and I will thank CHP separately that there has been a noticeable increase of patrol vehicles in the area during the day, during the evening, citing speeders of all sorts, running stop signs and stop lights. And we appreciate your help with that, with the CHP, and everything you're doing to keep the community safe. Councilmember Vega, go ahead.
Thank you, Captain Marquez. Can you speak to the fact of receiving screenshots of social media posts?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Can you kind of let me know a little more about, can you further describe the question? I don't really know what you're describing.
I had sent you a screenshot of somebody that had posted seen a suspect online.
Okay. So, yeah, just remember, we do appreciate anytime somebody does, like, oftentimes when social media, please, I think that we're talking about a certain call for service. If somebody does break into a home, the first call that you should be making is 911. I think there was an instance in the past, and there's been a few that, and it's happened to me personally with my family, is something happens, a crime happens, and people call me first. And I'm like, you need to call 911 because I can't get the authorities to your location. So that's really, it's super important that you call 911 and get the deputies responding immediately so we can catch that individual if there is somebody committing a crime. We do appreciate when the public does post things or send us things. However, if sometimes when things are posted, it's rare that we don't know about it and we are conducting an investigation, but please be patient with us. And I'm sure that in the future, I'll have some great news to report.
Councilmember Morona?
Hi, good evening, Captain. I want to ask about the tall cameras. They're like a black camera that there's one near the top of Windsor. There's one on the way into the Meadows on Canyon Crest. Are those like cameras from the sheriffs or is that another agency? Are you aware of those?
I would have to look up to find out exactly which cameras you're speaking of.
Okay. All right. I'll send you an email, but there was just some concerns by the residents like as to what those were. I assume they might be cameras from you, but I'll double check. Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Morona, do you have an image of one of the cameras you can send to him so he knows what you're talking about?
Yep, exactly.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Are there any other questions for Acting Captain Marquez? Great. If you want to hang around, that would be great. And we will move on to California Highway Patrol. Was it Keller or Bay? I'm trying to see who I see here. I see Officer Bay.
Council.
Good to
Hi,
see you.
this is Officer Bay. Sorry, my video is not working. Can everyone hear me okay?
We sure can.
Okay, good. I swear my mustache is still okay. I just can't where I'm at. It's not a good time. So good evening, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm Officer Brian Bay with the California Highway Patrol. I'm going to be reporting the May crash stats as well as any other updates within the community. So the CHP investigated a total of 22 traffic crashes for the month of May. Out of those 22, 8 were property damage only. 8 also involved injuries. 2 were investigated for driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. And 4 were investigated for hit and run. We also did have a felony hit and run, which is essentially a hit and run that resulted in injuries. I don't have too much under the information regarding that traffic crash if we have someone in custody. Normally, when it's a felony like that, the subject might still be outstanding. So I may need the community's help with that, but let me follow up a little bit more to see where we're at with that traffic crash. I do want to highlight something though, because for the month of April, we only investigated 15 traffic crashes. So we did see an increase in the month of May. And pulling up a little bit more, about half of those traffic crashes for the month of May involve commercial vehicles. So that's kind of a little bit of a concerning statistic for me. I know that we are still active with our crime suppression, our visual patrol within the Altadena community. We have our commercial officers that come out pretty much every day to do traffic enforcement specifically for those commercial vehicles. So, this is something that we kind of talked about and that we kind of predicted that we would see maybe an increase in that type of activity within our community. But I do want to highlight the fact that CHP will still be out there enforcing all vehicle codes and penal codes as well to make sure that the area is safe. As for a safety tip, I do want to highlight Caitlin's Law. For those that are not familiar with Caitlin's Law is essentially a piece of legislation that was put into effect, I believe, early 2000s, where a child was left unattended inside of a vehicle in the summer months, which resulted, unfortunately, in her passing. So, under California Vehicle Code 15620, it is unlawful to leave a child 6 years of age or younger unattended in a motor vehicle. I understand that we are not in we finished up school, so we may not be seeing that so often, but as we start up with these warm months, I just want the community to understand that that we take that type of violation very seriously and just for education purposes. Hopefully that wasn't too quick, but are there any questions regarding my report?
I do see one hand, but before I turn to Nick, I had a couple of questions myself. One, as it relates to the commercial collisions, are we
Yes.
seeing any sort of a pattern? Is it they're running stop signs, stop lights? Are they taking right-hand turns without stopping? Do we know?
So Victoria, I did kind of see, I got the quantity, and I'm looking at some of the roads that were associated. You know what? I'm not really seeing a pattern. I see one on Glen Rose and Fair Oaks. I see one on Woodbury and Kenyatta, but I also see one on Raymond and Woodbury as well. So kind of, maybe we can highlight Woodbury being, one of the major thoroughfares, but maybe have more of a presence on Woodbury, especially with commercial vehicles. But other than that, I have one on Santa Anita and Wapello Street. So it's a little bit sporadic, but we are out there, and I know firsthand we are issuing citations. We want to have the community understand that we know what everyone went through because we were out there assisting earlier this year. So we are definitely understanding when it comes to everyone's situations and everything else. However, we also want to make sure that people are, from whether they're in the community or visiting, primarily the visitors, that they obey the rules of the road.
Colonel Abichel is online, and I know that he will take to heart this part of this conversation. We are down to sort of record low number of crews in the area. However, those are debris removal crews, and we are going to see a rapid increase of construction crews and utility crews as people come back online.
Right.
So it is something we all need to be aware of. And my last question before I turn to Councilmember Arnzen is, with Caitlin's Law, I would imagine then that the best practice is, if you witness a child alone in a car that appears to be 6 or under, to please call 911.
Yes. Yes, that would be my best way to handle that. That way an officer can come out there and make the determination. Any child in any kind of emergency like that, we're not going to stand there and look and see, okay, is this individual 6 years or under? We're going to act. So yes, please call 911.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Arnzen?
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Officer Bay. Can you send those stats to me? We typically get them monthly. We just like to keep an archive of that.
Of course.
And I do want to attest to two quick things. We definitely get some comments about commercial vehicles. We're often finding those are not related to ACE, but they are actually private contractors doing different jobs within the community. So I don't know if there's a way to differentiate those, but again, Colonel Avishal, I'm sure will speak to that. And I do want to commend you for making multiple stops. Through a series of ridiculous circumstance, my registration is overdue and I gotta fix an engine pump, get a smog check, all that. But I mention it because in one day I was stopped twice by CHP. Both of times they were very kind, they were very understanding, gave me a fix-it ticket, but I did commend them for making multiple stops. You are definitely on the road and you're definitely pulling over the worst of offenders like myself. So thank you for that.
Well, yeah, of course, Nick. Like I said, we understand what people went through, and safety is the primary element that we like to look at too. So stop signs, speeding, whether you're in a vehicle, on a bicycle, any kind of vehicle. But when we're out there, we're saturating the area, and sometimes we have to make sure that officers are in the community too. So we appreciate those words and hope if you need help with any kind of registration guidance, feel free to let me know.
And I did just want to say that as it relates to differentiating between private debris removal companies and Army Corps, the Army Corps debris removal companies that are here through their master contractor do have a placard. It's a big magnet on the side of their vehicle with the Army star on it. And it does say United States Army Corps or U.S. Army Corps. The colonel can correct me. So in the absence of that, I would expect that it's a private debris removal company. And I did just also want to call out that this is something we've been talking to Public Works about. As we move into rebuilding, how are we going to advise the contractors that are here that they must obey the rules of the road to their peril? So we need to work on that. There's not really a great mechanism for it, but it is something we're talking about.
Okay.
Connor, I saw your hand up. Did you?
Private versus ACE, and what happens to ACE drivers that are cited or involved in accidents? But that's a question for Colonel Avishal.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Officer Bay, for being here. We appreciate you. We appreciate you being out in this community, especially as we go through this recovery and rebuilding stage. We are going to move on to County Fire, and we have Chief Sprangle.
You do. Good evening.
Good evening.
So good to be with you. Maria is on vacation, so I appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys tonight to handle the report for her and to spend some time with you guys. So the following is a report for the community of Altadena for May of 2025. So total response is 222. 177 receiving medical care. 143 of those patients were transported for medical complaint. No fires reported. There was 34 good intent calls, 4 hazardous condition calls. Those are typically wires down or something similar to that. And then there were 8 traffic accidents reported on the fire department side. So as a safety tip for the month, as we go into the 4th of July holiday, we urge our residents to celebrate responsibly. Just a reminder that all fireworks are illegal in all unincorporated areas of Los Angeles County. This includes the fireworks that are labeled safe and sane. Los Angeles County Fire Department encourages everyone to leave fireworks to the professionals and to visit a fireworks show. And for a list of fireworks shows within Los Angeles County, you can refer to our website fire.lacounty.gov. And this list will be available approximately 10 days prior to the holiday. That should list out any of those professional shows that you could attend. And that concludes my report, unless there's questions.
I see a question from Councilmember Chipola. Go ahead.
Chief Sprinkle, I'm just wondering, is there an after-action report on the Eden fire that's forthcoming, or when can we expect that?
There is, and they're actively working on that after-action report. And actually, there's multiple after-action reports going. Typically, it's going to take about 6 months or so. I would anticipate it being done in the next couple of months. I actually was just interviewed on one of them yesterday. So they're certainly actively working on those. They're both outside vendors, and they're both targeting different areas of the response as a whole. And I'll certainly, you guys will be the first to know. Yep.
I heard a hand, or was that Connor put? Oh, that was Councilmember Wilkins. Go ahead, unmute yourself.
Thanks. I put my headset down. Chief, I'm not too far from the Kinaloa area, and we had some good wins up there. I mean, if we have a start, just east of Eden Canyon itself, I mean, and there's good winds. How can I tell folks things are going to be any different? Because it's pretty dry up there and things, right? It's just my concern. I mean, I don't really expect an answer right now, but I'm thinking about that because it's been dry and there's a lot of stuff up there. You must be worried about that, right?
I'm always worried about it, to be honest with you. And
Yeah.
it's yes, it is. We are going back into the season, and we are we're certainly back in the season. We get a start up there. There's enough fuel to carry fire for sure. With the burn scar up in that area, it certainly helps us with lighter fuels. The Kinaloa area as a whole did a little bit better than most areas of Altadena, but I attribute that to the fire history that we had in the past. Back in 1993 was the Kinaloa fire. After the Kinaloa fire, we had a rebuilding with newer construction, and I think a lot of that newer construction did better up against some of the conditions of the Eaton fire. But in short, yes, we are back in the season. We need our residents to be vigilant. Remember, ready, set, go for our residents as we go back into the season. And we certainly need to assure that our homes are ready and prepared for the fire season as we go into the season again.
Thanks, Chief.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, it is certainly good to see you. I hope that Maria has a great vacation and that you are doing okay without her. And then we'll see.
Touch and go. She helps me. I can't say enough about Maria. She helps me so much in my district. So
I know she does. I know she does. And she was critically important in the hours and days immediately after the fire too. So I really hope she's taking a real good relaxation and mental health break for sure.
Yep.
And thank you for calling in from the road. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate it.
Okay, folks, we're going to move into our community reports, and that means that our partners, the Army Corps, is up first. Colonel Avichel.
Okay. Hi, can everyone hear me okay? Testing my mic.
We can.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm just going to give a general update on where we are overall, and then I'll jump into some specific topics. And I will address the truck comment earlier as well. So, so just general numbers here. So as we looked at it, those that have opted into the program, we're at 5,768. That's as of today. Those that have opted out, 516. So again, Altadena had a very high percentage of folks that opted in comparison to the Palisades fire. I think in Palisades, it was around 20% that opted out. So again, a much higher opt-in rate here. In terms of cleared properties, as of about 2 hours ago, 5,345. So that in terms of percentages, we looked at those that opted in and those that we've cleared, we're at 93%. And then in terms of the final sign off, in which case we, take care of the hazard trees, do the hydromulch, and then return that right of entry back to the county. We're at 5,158, which is right around 90%. So, so as our kind of workload has gone down, the number of crews that we have here has also reduced. So right now we have 33 debris crews as of this morning. And, at the peak of this operation, we had 129. So again, we're kind of hitting what I call kind of the tail of this operation, and a lot less crews, and 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 similarly, a lot less trucks will be on the road. So I'll hit trucks right now. So again, I think I was talking to Lieutenant Marquez yesterday. I honestly, I really do appreciate the extra law enforcement that's out there. I would much rather our trucks get cited, the ones that aren't doing the right things and obeying the law. I'd much rather them get cited than them get into an accident. So again, I do appreciate, nobody should feel bad about giving my trucks a ticket. I wish we'd give them, that doesn't bother me at all. So again, there are a lot fewer trucks on the road. I think at one point we had about 750 working in Altadena. We're probably around 100, 150 right now. So a lot less Army Corps of Engineer trucks. And to answer the question about what happens to somebody if they get cited, typically they're removed from the project. If for some reason there was an extenuating circumstance, and we did retain that truck. At this point, with just the amount of crews that are going down, every one of our crews, every one of our truckers, we keep a detailed safety record of them, and they're usually the first ones to go whenever we hit kind of as the mission starts to wind down. So if there was a truck that did have a safety incident or ran a red light or failed, we do our own safety inspections as well. So if they had a bunch of issues with their vehicles or things like that, they're usually the first ones to be let go. So the ones that are out on the roads are going to be our best truckers. And then we do have a placard on the side of it. It has an Army star and has the truck number on it, and it has a phone number. So again, if a trucker's not doing what they're supposed to do, and if you're able to snap a quick shot of their that information on there, you can always report it to us, and then we'll handle it internally. Okay, so a couple other issues I'll talk about here. So commercial properties, we did get the approval for 26 commercial properties from FEMA within the Altadena area. The majority of which are located on Lake Avenue, essentially in that corridor between Altadena and Woodbury Road. You'll see that corridor in that area around the grocery outlet. That's where the majority of the commercial properties are located. We also have some that are on Fair Oaks as well, and that's really the vicinity of Altadena Road and Calaveras, kind of close to Fair Oaks Burger. I think that's just in that area. Public Works is notifying all those folks that are now included into the program. I spoke with Chris Shepard yesterday, and he confirmed that they are being notified through Public Works. So we will start those properties probably within the next 7 days. So again, you'll see a little bit more traffic up on Lake, but again, I think there's enough side streets and things that it shouldn't impact it dramatically. Special inclusion properties. So these are primarily they're private nonprofit, things like churches, facilities like that, schools. So we've received a total since the beginning of this 43 properties that fit this category. As of today, we should be complete with 20 of them. So again, those are larger properties, and this is where you'll see the kind of the production rates will slow down because it'll take us 2 weeks to do a property like this, as opposed to a normal home, which will take about 2 days. Last thing I'll hit on here is the Altadena Golf Course. So right now, we still have, actually, I'll hit on two other topics. So Altadena Golf Course, still trying to get our final workload numbers from the county. The commercial properties was a good chunk of what we were expecting. And now we're just doing some analysis, making some assumptions about how many abatement properties we will receive. According to the county, it's above 150, below 200 is kind of their guess. And that'll dictate kind of when we start winding down operations at the golf course and actually start with the restoration portion of it. So we've already kind of shrank our footprint at the golf course a little bit. Some of the areas where we had multiple crushers going, we've condensed down to one concrete crusher, and then we also have reduced kind of the footprint where we had our mulch piles and things like that. So we are shrinking the footprint, and we should start restoration here shortly. And then the last one I'll talk about here is the abatement property. So again, so the county, just for everybody's awareness, the county has set a deadline of 30 June for folks to, if they did opt out of the program, to do the debris removal on their own. If they aren't able to do that, then those properties will be abated, and then there's going to be some sort of an appeals process. But bottom line is that we should receive, the Corps of Engineers should receive all of those abatement properties by 15 July. And so that is kind of the deadline for us to figure out what our total workload is going to be. And then after that point, well, really, we shouldn't receive any additional properties. So you'll see a little bit of a jump in terms of what I consider our denominator, our workload, and those will be the abatements. So our percentages won't always keep going up. They might drop for a little bit as we get more properties included in our workload. Okay, I will pause there for any questions. Thanks.
Council members, do you have any questions? If you do, if you would raise a hand. And Colonel, I did just want to advise everyone that in addition to the work that you are doing, that we have seen an increase in private debris removal companies as that deadline approaches, that we have business property owners that have commenced their own debris removal. So we're seeing that at Aldi, we're seeing it at Side Pie, we're seeing it at the Waldorf school. So there is still a lot going on in the community. I had one question for you, maybe Chief Sprengel, and then I'll go to Councilmember Stewart Gordon. The hydro mulch that we've used on the cleared properties, is it, when it dries, how flammable is it? I think that to Reggie's point about the threat of fire, there's this concern that we have these, we're going to have 5,000 something properties that are all sprayed with hydro mulch, and is that of a concern?
Yep. So I'll have to double check, but as it was explained to me initially, is that this is not a flammable substance, just the way that it's mixed. But again, I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction if for some reason I'm not true on it. So I'll take that as a note and I'll get back to you.
Chief Sprengel, did you want to add something?
No, just that I'm not sure the flammability, like the Colonel said, you have to check on that. But I'm also, as ground cover, and it's not like a high material, I'm not real concerned about flame length and what have you as it was spread. If it did spread through there, it was flammable, it would just be a smoldering type of a event. So I'm not real concerned about it.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you, Colonel, for that. Go ahead, Councilmember Stewart Gordon.
Hi, thank you. My question is in regards to debris removal for the Bank of America, as well as the post office. Will that be private or will that be the Army Corps of Engineers? I appreciate it if you have any information, if you can answer that.
Yep. So those they would normally be private. They're not within our workload right now, and I think one of the criteria that FEMA had set forth is really trying to focus on the kind of the private businesses, the mom and pop type businesses, in terms of debris removal. The thought process is that the larger companies like a Bank of America or something should be able to afford to do the debris removal on their own. But
I did just want to also say before we turn to Councilmember Wilkins that there are additional commercial properties still up for discussion and possible inclusion. They have to meet certain criteria in order to even be considered for inclusion. And after this round of 26 that were recently included, Public Works did get additional information on some of the properties that were not included that they then supplied back to FEMA. So it is an ongoing negotiation with FEMA. I will say that one of the criteria for a small business or small property owner of a small business was if any of their debris was in the public right of way, which we had a significant incursion on lake. So that's why some of those properties there were included. So I think that Councilmember Stewart Gordon, we may hear additional properties being added by our July meeting. Fingers crossed on that. Councilmember Wilkins?
Just quickly, I want to just the after action report, and I just want to make sure if something happens, I'm usually don't worry about things like this, but we won't have any water issues or anything like that. There's something, because I know it's hard to forecast really good Santa Ana's, right? And if the wrong ingredients happen, are we pretty sure we're going to have at least water and won't have some of the problems we had with the last fire? Just, I know you guys are thinking about this, Chief, but I just want to put it out there that I'm thinking about it too. All right, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, so not so much of a question, but a comment and a concern, and definitely something we should probably take up with our water companies too. Councilmember Arnzen, if you'll make note of that, we can probably get a response.
Hey, Chair, can I just add
Sure, go
something
ahead.
quickly?
Please do.
So I will tell you that the fire department is heavily involved with the water companies, all four of those throughout Altadena, and discussions are being had as to how we move forward and preparation for moving forward. So we are heavily engaged with those topics.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Any other questions before we move on? And Colonel, we certainly appreciate you being here. I know this makes for a very long day for you, and I definitely appreciate your presence here. Okay, seeing no additional questions, we are going to move on to the library and our director, Nikki Winslow.
Good evening, everyone. This is an off month for me, so thanks for giving me a little time tonight. I'll try to be as concise as I can. Let's see. So starting from the beginning. All right, so the library schedule, just a reminder that we're going to be closed on Thursday for Juneteenth. Oh, and happy Pride, happy Juneteenth, everybody. We'll also be closed on Friday, July 4th for Independence Day. Just a reminder that Bob Lucas is still closed for renovation. I have more slides about that in a minute. And then our Altadena Library at Loma Alta Park, which did open last month, as I mentioned last month, will also be closed on Juneteenth and July 4th. And the hours, as a reminder, at Loma Alta are Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, and then Saturday, 10 to 4, which are the similar hours as Maine. They're just not open till 8 o'clock on Monday and Tuesday nights. So hopefully we'll see you up there. I was asked to talk about the budget, and I think there may be some questions coming. So I'm trying to hit all the points that I think will answer some questions, but we did put together our Crisis and Recovery Committee right after the Eaton fire, and we've been working with the lobbyists to submit budget request letters to the Senate, Assembly, and the Governor requesting funds to backfill our anticipated property tax shortfalls. We actually sent updated letters yesterday. As the legislature is really in the middle of negotiating those budget requests through the end of this month. From what I understand, we should have a good idea of if we're included or not by the end of June, and that really is going to tell us a lot about what next steps we can take. I have met several times with Assembly Member Harabedian, Senator Perez, the governor's staff, and several other legislative offices with our lobbyists the last few months. I've been up to Sacramento twice, so fingers crossed, and feel free to give any of them a call in support of these asks. So as such, and because there's not a lot of clarity about what we're going to be getting, we're going to be presenting our fiscal year 25-26 budget to the Board of Trustees at their meeting this coming Monday, the 23rd at 5 o'clock. You can watch that on our YouTube channel or attend in person at the main library. Because we usually take the budget to the board in May, but we haven't been given any clear in like data on what we're going to receive. We're assuming that this backfill from the state that we'll be getting will cover the anticipated property tax shortfalls. And I continue to have regular meetings with the LA County Assessor's Office, Auditor Controller to obtain the data that we need on property statuses. As I mentioned, once we understand the level of state support and obtain the property data from LA County, which usually comes out in mid-July, we will meet with our special tax assessment firm, our bond counsel, and then ultimately with our CFD, which stands for Community Facilities District Committee, to determine what that special tax assessment rate will be for this next year, also known as Measure Z. I did want to remind everyone that residents can apply for a very low income tax exemption by mailing in the exemption form, which can be found on our website by June 30th. And I really want to encourage everyone, if people have questions, please direct them to me. That's my office phone, 626-798-0833, extension 103. I'm trying to provide as much information as I can, but again, like things are not super clear as of this point. So that is my budget update. So back to more fun subjects. Our Bob Lucas building project is going wonderfully. It's more than 90% complete at this point. I'm sure as you've driven by, you've seen the progress that has been made. And I'm extremely excited to announce that we're going to have its grand reopening on Saturday, August 16th at 10 a.m. So save the date, get that on your calendar. And here's just a couple pictures. Once the green windows came in, they are stunning and really added a lot to the design element inside the building. This is a view from inside as well as outside, what will be the children's area of the library. And then also some of those green windows over in the Literacy Center. So really looks great. I'm so excited to open that library. As far as the main library building project, we're scheduled to close and begin our renovations in late 2025, and that really is looking like not till the end of this year. Just today, actually, we met with LA County to relocate the Passport Services Office potentially to the community center. So I'm excited about that potential partnership. And then we're also still working through the environmental impact report process to be able to get the conditional use permit we need to start the work. I have reached out to our 2 census tract council members who referred me to Diane, so I'm going to communicate with her to make sure that we're on track with the land use committee and what we need to do to make sure that the community is able to weigh in and is updated on that process. So our very last Friends of the Altadena Library book giveaway, we didn't call it a sale because we're actually not going to be charging for the books this time, will take place on Saturday, June 28th from 10 to 4. From 10 to 12, it will be for Altadena residents only, and you have to show proof of residence. For that, you can choose up to 75 books for free to replace the libraries that have been lost. And then from 12 to 4, it will be open to all. And all of the promotion we're doing is we are encouraging book resellers to not attend because we really want to focus on our community members that are trying to restore their libraries. So hope to see you there. It is our summer at Altadena Libraries. Our summer reading program kicked off on June 2nd and will run through August 16th. Our All Ages Summer Reading Challenge, again, will be tracked on Beanstack. It's our community reading goal to read 250,000 minutes. And as usual, we have more than 100 events this summer between the Loma Alta site as well as our main library and throughout the community. If you didn't stop by and get one of our magazines, I'd highly encourage you. Again, our marketing person, Bryn, created a really cool catalog, basically, of everything that's going on. We also, again, have lunch at the library. Please spread the word. There's free lunch as well as fun activities throughout the week. This is for all children and teens that are 18 years and younger. Takes place in our main library community room from 11:30 to 12:30 every day. And I believe every Wednesday is a really fun activity. So if you're going to target any day to come, like I believe tomorrow there's going to be some type of slime event. So if your kids like slime, bring them on in. And lunch will run through August 1st. We also have partnered with an organization called Families in Schools, actually since the fire took place. They're going to be offering story times at both our main library and our Loma Alta site in July and August. You can see those times over on the right, Saturdays at the main library, and then varying days up at Loma Alta Park. That'll run July 9th through the 23rd. And children preschool to 3rd grade will take home a backpack with books to keep. So spread the word on people, again, trying to restore their libraries. So just real quick, this is my last slide. Wanted to highlight, we're partnering with Historical Society on their Juneteenth celebration and luncheon this coming Thursday at 12 o'clock up at Loma Alta Park. We've also partnered with Project Hope to do an Understand the Mind-Body Impact of Crisis. This will be a virtual workshop. Please register for the link. That'll take place next Tuesday night. Next Wednesday, the 25th at 10 a.m. will be a day at the farm, so bring the kids. That'll be fun. We're also going to be launching our Seed Library grand opening on Thursday, June 26th, so next Thursday at 3 o'clock up at Loma Alta Park. We're continuing to partner with the Foothill Catalog, Altadena Heritage, Pasadena Heritage Historical Society on the Altadena Revealed Lecture Series. The next one will be held at the Altadena Main Library on Friday, June 27th. This one's called Outlaws of Altadena, the Criminal Prosecutions of Our Colorful Contrarians. And all of those have been amazing, so highly recommend you visit those. We'll also have Indie Author Night on Tuesday, July 1st. And then in partnership with Rotary, the concerts are going to be back up at this time Loma Alta Park starting Saturday, June 5th. That's all I've got. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Great. Thank you so much, Nikki. I was going to say, Council Member Winslow, I got myself confused. And don't laugh at me, Vice Chair Arnzen, I see you over there. Are there any questions for the library, especially as it relates to the tax? As I know that was what was of primary concern to folks. Okay, so I think you must have done a good enough job explaining it to satisfy the folks here, and I appreciate that. And then if you decide to want to stick around and we can see what comes up later, that might be helpful.
I'll be here till the end. And again, if people have questions, please have them call me. I field them a lot and I'm happy to do it. So
okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to see you all.
You too. I was advised that there was some confusion with Parks and Rec, so we will not be having a presentation from Parks, so you can strike that. And we are moving on to Southern California Edison, and I believe I am turning that over to Carla.
Yes, hi Victoria. Hello, Town Council. It's great to see everyone again tonight. Carla Sales, Vice President of Local Public Affairs for Southern California Edison. And we have some slides that we will move through very quickly, not all of them, but happy to share more details next week at the ACONA meeting. So if we can go to the first slide, or rather the second slide. Thank you, Nick. You'll recall this is the map we shared with you when we were here back in April. That was top line of our undergrounding plans. You'll remember the 40 circuit miles in the high fire risk area, in addition to the 23 circuit miles in the high fire risk area that our team is currently in the process of planning. So we're here tonight to really talk about the next step of that work. And you'll see a picture in the corner on the gorge circuit that we've already had about 2 circuit miles that are currently underway on East Loma Alta Drive and Sunny Oak Circle. We were able to start the work in this area because coincidentally we had planned about 0.85 miles of the underground work along the gorge circuit in this area as part of our 2025-2028 general rate case proposal. So we get a lot of questions on why here, and why here is because we were we already had plans in place that we've been working on for the last 2 years to be able to start here. So we expanded that work from 0.85 miles to 2 miles, and that's the work that you've continued to see and will see as the team is underway on construction there. With that construction starting, though, we thought it was a good opportunity to come back to you all now as our right of entry outreach has started in the community. And we really wanted to make sure that there's broader awareness over that process, particularly because though we don't have the phasing of how all of the undergrounding will roll out, we'll certainly bring that back as soon as we have it available. This will be something that goes on over the course of the next few years as the undergrounding work continues. So we thought we would introduce it today. To do that, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Vanessa, who is our project manager on the right of entry process.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for that, Carla. Here to talk about the ROE process and what you can expect if our targeted undergrounding program will affect your property. Thank you very much for the slide. So once planning has designed a circuit to go through a neighborhood, and we've identified that circuit will affect your property, we will we verify the impact to the circuit. We engage the property owner affected via a telephone call, a text message, email, and a door knock where possible. We review and explain that design to your property with you and plan site meetings as necessary. Can we have the next slide, please? So as part of the acquisitions team, we're working with a contractor called Monument Right of Way. So their agents will be reaching out to you in addition to myself to coordinate getting you the design, getting you the design and the right of entry agreement. Next slide, please. So a project cannot be cleared for construction without rights from the property owner, most commonly in the form of an easement. Typically, the easement acquisition process takes approximately 6 months. The right of entry process was implemented in response to the need to expedite the land rights acquisition process, which would allow the project to get to scheduling and construction at a faster pace. For this process, we're looking at a 30-day timeline to secure the authorization from the property owner. So in that time, we'll work with you, we'll review the agreement together, the design. If site meetings are necessary, we're happy to meet out at the site and talk through any questions that you might have to get you more comfortable with that agreement and what we're asking for. Next slide, please. So our number one goal in this process is safe and reliable power restoration to the community. The ROE process facilitates the Eaton rebuilding effort, ensuring the community receives electric service with improved safety and reliability. The ROE is a short document with an easy to understand exhibit that depicts how your property is affected. Through this process, there's going to be 2 opportunities for compensation, one at the ROE signing and one at the signing of the easement. The ROE ultimately grants SCE access and authorization to construct facilities on your property. It grants a temporary right, as the easement will grant the permanent right for their facilities to be installed. This is just high-level bullet points on what you can expect as we move through the ROE process. Monument, our contractor, and myself will be reaching out to you to deliver the ROEs with the designs, and from there we'll work together towards getting those signed. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'll pass it over to Jennifer Ocampo on PSPS.
Thank you, Vanessa. Good evening, everybody. I wanted to talk a little bit about PSPS preparedness, and so let's go to the next slide. So during potential PSPS, we open community resource centers or deploy community crew vehicles. So the community resource centers are indoor locations where we offered snacks, water, charging stations, and resiliency kits. We also have additional support for customers with access and functional needs, which are individuals who might need additional assistance due to different conditions. The community crew vehicles, they're slightly different. They're mobile vans, but they offer similar services, and we typically just offer those resources outdoors when we activate a community crew vehicle. Wanted to talk about 2 programs that we have listed here, which is 211 and Disability Disaster Access and Resources. Those are two very similar programs that offer transportation, hotel accommodations, or food support in the event that you are de-energized. So just kind of high level, we encourage our customers to dial 211 or go to 211 now to schedule some care coordination and emergency planning. We also have some additional resiliency programs, which are the Critical Care Battery Backup Program, which is a free battery for customers who are eligible. We have in-event battery loan pilot, which are batteries for loan via 211. And finally, we have rebates and portable batteries and generators through our marketplace. So I really want to encourage you to visit se.com to learn more about these programs. And with that, I'll pass it down to Carla. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're actually going to skip over all of these fun slides and just go straight to the end because I know we're pressed for time. So I did just want to end by continuing to flag that we do have energy advisors and planners who are available at the Altadena one-stop shop. The address is on the screen, and we have folks there consistent with the times of the center. We're also looking at working on opening additional center that we can talk more about next week during the ACONA meeting, where we can have more resources, additional planners, additional access to energy advisors on one of our local SCE properties in the neighborhood. So more to come on those pieces. But again, we just wanted to keep you all updated, and I'll open it up for any questions and look forward to continuing the conversation next week with a little bit more detail.
Thank you so much, Carla. I see a hand by Councilmember Chipola.
I have two questions real quick. What is the average width of an easement on a standard residential lot?
Ooh, that's a good question. Vanessa, do you want to chime in on that?
So the average width that we will use is 6 feet. It's 6 feet wide.
Okay.
There are some structures that might be a little larger than that, but I would say the average is 6 feet.
Sure. Second question. I was looking at buying a battery today, and I was on the marketplace and noticed that the model that I want is not on rebate. So why are not all portable batteries, battery generators, why don't they all have rebates?
Jennifer, do you want to answer that?
We would have to get back to you with that question. So apologies, I don't have an answer for that.
We'll get back to you, Councilmember. Apologies.
Thank you.
Any other questions for SCE? I thought I heard a hand, but I don't. Let me go to the first page. Oh, I see Councilmember Molden. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for being here. Just logistically, does a neighbor have to have the fire department first sign the certificate of clearance before they can then sign the ROE with you?
Vanessa?
That's a good question. I don't believe that would have any bearing on the ROE, but I can look into it further. That's not a sort of constraint that we've had to deal with yet.
Thank you.
And I do think just on that, one of the important notes that we've started to see already, as the ROEs are clustered, it's going to be critically important for us to look at those neighborhoods and the ROEs almost like segmented parts of the community, because if we're not able to get all of those neighbors on board with the ROEs, then that would impact the undergrounding. So it's why, and I think, Nick, I'd love to spend more time with the CONA next week, because what we'd hate to have happen is, you have 5 different folks on a block and everyone is on board for undergrounding, and then there's the one holdout, and that would impact the whole street's ability to go underground. So this is where it really is, a community partnership and a community conversation. It's why we want to start now. so that there is more broad awareness of the process and of the partnership.
Councilmember Arnzen.
Thank you for looking into those questions for Councilmember Chipola and Molden. While I have faith in you returning us with those answers, perhaps come to Acona with those answers, but also you can find, as you see in the Councilmember Chipola's email is in the chat, but you can also find any council members' emails on our Altadena Town Council website, and please CC Chair Knapp and myself so we can make the rest of the council aware and perhaps the public in some way of what those answers are.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. Councilmember Molden.
And one more quick question. We have a lot of flag streets in Altadena. How would that work as far as the ROEs and having the main street be owned by the county and having the utilities go down there?
Vanessa?
I apologize if my dog is part of this meeting. So we work with the property owner that may be affected. So for example, if it's the county, if it's a private property owner, if it's a municipality, we work with each entity as needed. In some cases, like a municipality, for example, or the county, they would request a different kind of instrument. It likely wouldn't be specifically the ROE that we're using with a private resident, but we have been in touch with these agencies so that we can expedite and that it doesn't affect our construction time.
And just to add to that, for example, some of the work that's happening already on Loma Alta, an easement wasn't necessarily needed there because we had existing easements in the right of way. So that's an example of how some of this work is truly block by block, and the planners are trying to figure out what's needed in each community. So it might look different street by street.
Councilmember Green.
Hi, thank you for being here, and I hope I haven't asked a question that's already been answered. Or how are you guys going to make sure that this information is getting out? Certainly, we can do our best to disseminate it to our constituents, but are you guys going to mail something out? You know how sort of like you mail out when you're raising the rates? Are you going to send out something to people to kind of let them know that this is coming? Because there's a lot to digest, right? So it'd be good for them to have it. I think Councilmember Stewart actually said something in a chat about giving us copies, but I just wanted to ask that question.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a great question. So as the neighborhoods come on deck for the ROE process in their neighborhood, they are getting a letter specific to that neighborhood. So the first round of letters actually, I believe, just went out, and that's where we wanted to come simultaneously to you all here, to Acona, to make sure that yes, we're directly reaching out to those impacted neighbors, but we're also creating broader awareness with you all in case you get any questions and can help connect them back to us as folks are asking, what is this, or how does this work, so that we can make sure that we can answer all of the questions and ultimately, communicate very clearly to the community.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Green. All right, I do not see, let me go to the first page. I do not see any additional hands. So thank you, all of our representatives from SCE for being here. We appreciate it. We'll look forward to the slides, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the Acona meeting next week for a more in-depth discussion. Okay, we have our partners from UWS here. I think I saw Matt Blackburn.
Yes, good evening. I thank you for getting us on the agenda with short notice. We appreciate it. I wanted to reach out to you guys today. As part of the contract, there is an annual rate increase that is due on July 1st. So we've been working with LA County Public Works and the board's office on how to handle that with everything that's been going on in the community. It's bad timing to implement a rate increase at this time. So one of the things we've come up with, and we wanted to report back to you and get any feedback you may have, is looking to approve the rate increase as it's contractual. It's just under 5%, around $1.60, I believe, per month. Approve the rate increase. It would go out on the invoices. We would notify all the residents, but we would offer back a credit on the increase through March of next year. to give us some more time to, get everything, kind of back on the right track and get moving forward. And then starting April 1st of 2026, that rate increase would actually go into effect and be payable prior to the next year's rate increase that's coming on. So I really wanted to reach out and let you guys know, we're postponing that increase, but then also letting you know that that will hit in April and then again in July of next year. So we've talked a lot about it, and between Public Works and the board's office, they think that that's probably the right move forward, but we wanted to at least have those conversations. And then in order to pay for that increase, Universal is going to donate about half of that. So we won't be made whole on that reduction for about half of it. And then the other half, the county has the authority on the green waste cart cleaning service that's done once a year. It's kind of a service that they can add or take away depending on how the rates are. So what we've talked about is bypassing that for this year. Again, just with everything that's happened up there, adding that other crew, we thought that it made more sense to maybe take a pass on that and then implement that again next year, so that we have some time. So those are kind of really what I wanted to talk about, get some feedback. I know the county's on as well. We believe it's the right path forward, but again, we wanted to at least have that conversation before letters went out and residents started having questions. So maybe I could pause there and get any feedback. And then I do have some stats kind of from where we're at as far as the refund process and what's kind of left on that and closing accounts and opening accounts. I thought maybe we could just take a few minutes to talk about, and then I'll let you guys get on with your meeting. I know you're busy. So maybe that's where we can stop.
Okay, thanks so much, Matt. I see that Councilmember Arnzen has a question.
Sure.
Thank you, Chair. Matt, along the same lines as Councilmember Green's question to SE, how do you plan to get the information out besides this method?
So with working with LA County, we've already put together a letter that kind of outlines the program that would go out to all the residents before the billing hits the street. We plan to provide that to the council and all the community groups as well, so that everybody can help get that word spread. And then that is ready to be, it's already been approved by everyone that needs to be approved with the Board of Public Works. So as soon as we got your blessing to move forward, our plan would be to start getting those letters out in the mail this week. That way everybody has the notice. And then on the actual invoice, they'll see the rate will increase. And then we will actually show the credit on the invoice, and so that everybody knows that increase is being passed at this time. So hopefully that will help clarify it as well.
I'm sorry, Chair, just a follow up. Thank you, Matt. And I just want to clarify, our blessing wouldn't be for the increase. Our blessing would certainly be for the communication, as we would probably encourage you not do the increase. But I would encourage you to, in that communication, be very clear that there will seemingly be 2 increases within a year. And we've already talked about this, but I would put that front and center to say that we have moved our increase into the spring, which puts you in an uncomfortable position of having to look like you're doing 2 increases in a year, which we know is not the case.
No, and I appreciate that. And honestly, nothing in comparison to what any of the residents have had to go through losing their personal homes. But this has been, we've lost millions of dollars in equipment up there. And so if it could be passed, I mean, that would be the goal. But we've taken a big hit. And again, I say that with all due respect. It's nothing compared to what you guys have gone through, but it's been a tough year up there for everybody. So I hope you understand that, and I don't take away anything that you guys have gone through. So
Thank you for that, Matt. Councilmember Chipola?
Matt, I gotta look into it a little more, but can we get some contact information for follow-up for additional feedback?
Sure, 100%. I'll put it in the chat notes with my email address, and then feel free to reach out anytime. And if for some reason you don't have it, I know Victoria and several others have my email, but anytime.
And Chair, I see Khaled would like to chime in from Public Works.
Go ahead, Khaled.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Khaled Alkam, LA County Public Works with Environmental Programs Division. Just to respond to Nick about the back-to-back increases, one of the reasons why we wanted to show the increase on the July 1st invoice is for the residents to know that there is an increase has been approved. It's already in effect. And when they, when they see 3 invoices, they realize, okay, it's been approved. They see it there. So when we go for July 1st next year, they're already kind of used to the idea with the new rate, and it will not look like it's back-to-back increases. This is why UWS and us, we talked about, is like, yeah, we got to show it. We have to show a credit. Like we want to get the message out that the rate increase has been approved for July 1st, so it doesn't look like it's back-to-back increases. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the clarification. Appreciate it, Colette. And thanks so much for being here, Matt. I know it becomes a late night for you guys as well.
No problem.
Okay, seeing no additional questions. All right. We are going to move on to Public Works. Giancarlo.
Victoria, if I could, just really
Sure.
quick, I'm sorry. I just wanted to point out on the, as far as closing out accounts, we've been working really hard in conjunction with the county. Our supervisors and drivers have been reporting houses that we've identified as damaged. Universal's closed about 4,600 accounts on our own and provided credits back and closures without customers needing to contact in. We've received about 1,200 requests from customers, putting us right around 5,800 accounts that have been closed out due to the fire or fire damage. We know there's still some out there. And so if you guys could just, in passing, billing's going out, and it's been really difficult on some of them for us to identify the addresses that were actually involved to close some of the accounts. So if anyone's still getting a bill or getting charged for service and they have lost their home, if we have a Google Doc, it's all available on our website. They can submit it quickly. And we've been providing refunds within same day or same week of every request. So we were trying to get that back right away. So just to put that out there, if you guys hear anything, please pass it along as fast as possible, because we are trying to make sure that nobody's getting billed for service that they're not receiving. So
yeah, and thank you for that, Matt. That was something I talked to Michelle about. So community members, it's really important if you are still receiving a bill from UWS and your house has been destroyed, or you have no service at your house because of the damage and you're not living there, please reach out to UWS and let them know so that they can cancel service and issue any refunds for payments you may have made.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much, Matt. Okay, sorry, Giancarlo, we are moving on to you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Victoria. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, I just want to double check everyone can see my screen and hear me. Thank you. Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Giancarlo Sergi, and I'm proud to serve as the project manager for a vital community project that I'd like to share with you briefly today, the Lincoln Avenue temporary bridge replacement. So this project is located on Lincoln Avenue, roughly 400 feet north of West Altadena Drive in the unincorporated community of Altadena. Due to the January 2025 Eden fire, the Lincoln Avenue Bridge was partially damaged, and for a time, one lane of traffic remained safely open. However, after more recent inspections, it revealed a deterioration leading to a complete closure of the bridge to ensure public safety. We are planning to replace the damaged structure with a temporary steel truss bridge, which will serve the community while we work behind the scenes to design a new permanent bridge. This temporary bridge ensures that residents and commuters alike will regain essential access, and is also vital to provide easy access that is needed for debris removal efforts, emergency vehicles, construction machinery, and other mitigations or responses. The project's primary objective is to safely demolish and remove the existing fire damaged bridge and install with the temporary bridge that will meet community needs until the new permanent bridge is designed and ready for construction. So the anticipated construction timeline is August 1st through August 15th, 2025. So it's a very tight schedule, and you may see mobilization happening in July as well. But this is our anticipated construction timeline for now, and construction may be conducted 7 days a week, generally between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. to expedite temporary bridge opening. As you can see on the screen, we were notified about this meeting a little late, so I'm unable to provide exhibits, but I did provide an information flyer in which we will be passing out to nearby residents. We are committed to keeping the community informed and engaged throughout this process. Again, nearby residents can expect this flyer, and there will also be updates across social media platforms, including the Nextdoor app, which has been helpful also. And that is what I have. Thank you for your time and continued support as we work together to rebuild Altadena even stronger.
Thank you so much for that. If you could get to Nick the flyer that would go out to residents, then we can make sure we get it on our website and our socials as well. I think it's great that we're going to notify residents in the vicinity, but that park is about to get the Loma Alta Park is about to get much busier as the concert season kicks off, and we've got to notify folks what's going on and what they can expect in terms of detours, especially if they've not been up there and are not aware of how to get around at this point. I see a couple of raised hands, so hold on just a second. Go ahead, Councilmember Arnzen.
Thank you. Can you go ahead and take off your screen share if that's all right with you, Chair? Giancarlo, I just have a couple quick questions, and it might negate the second question. What is the function of the bridge? Is it just simply over a small canyon, or is there water running underneath?
Yes. So the function of this bridge is to provide access to vehicles over a wash, actually. So the wash is unnamed. So it's fairly small, and much of the year it does not have water in it as well. So that's what the bridge's primary objective.
Does that wash go to any water reclamation, or does it rise to the level of maybe earning some sort of water reclamation in the future design of another bridge?
At this moment, I'm not sure if that water goes to reclamation center, but we are aware that we have not seen very much water in this wash throughout inspection.
All right. Thank you, Chair.
You can stop sharing, Giancarlo, and then Councilmember Morona, go ahead.
Thank you, Giancarlo, for coming. Obviously, residents are very concerned about response times, things of that nature, and it seems like this is a slightly adjusted from what I had heard previously, October 15th versus like a September 30th type time frame. Do you think it will? I know you said you will be working many days. I just know that the residents really want that access open. They're just concerned about first responders' response times. And given that there are communities up there with only one way in, one way out, it's a difficult, it could be difficult to the community. So just asking about the construction timing, do you think that it will truly go until the 15th?
Yes. So the primary objective was to open this bridge as soon as possible for the residents. So
okay.
We do predict around October 15th for the bridge to reopen. I am aware that you have seen maybe a September date, but we decided that October 15th was more feasible in case of construction delays. But we are expecting October 15th the latest.
Councilmember Wong.
Hi. Quick question. So this particular area of access is very delicate as it relates to also the east side of that. So Palm Street, Loma Alta, and I live on Olive Avenue, which is taking a huge amount of traffic from the closure. So, and as it relates to access, pedestrians, people who are actually walking, how is this bridge, how are we taking pedestrians into account? Because people are walking, people are still living even in that part of town. And also accessing the park, as everyone's described. So, how is this project, um, looking at facilitating pedestrian access and transit at the end of the day?
Of course. So we did provide a detour route on the information flyer. So I believe that Olive and Loma Alta were on that detour route. So that's why you are seeing a high volume of maybe cars and residents walking through there. And as far as the residents walking along the temporary bridge, we are still looking at a sidewalk option as well, but at this time, I do not have that information regarding walking on that bridge.
If I may also add, it is a big horse trail as well up and down Lincoln. So that's just something to take in consideration too.
Of course. Yeah, we are
Thanks.
also taking that into consideration.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, Chair.
No, that's okay. Appreciate it. Okay, so you'll get the flyer to Vice Chair Arnzen so that we can post it on our socials and share it out. And then Councilmember Arnzen, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. And I know Lee Miller is here as well. So I would just respectfully ask, as Public Works looks into that redesign, to contact both Councilmember Wong and Councilmember Morona to maybe put into effect what they're hearing from residents and desires of a better walkway, which was always lacking in that area anyway, and whatever else they might have as concerns from the community, it would be appreciated.
Of course.
Absolutely. And that's part of the design phase to look at all those elements of the multi-use of that bridge, including, as you mentioned, sidewalks, maybe on one side or both sides. So it's under consideration during the design phase.
And that would hold true for the temporary bridge as well, Lee? Possibly?
At this time, we're just looking at a sidewalk along one side of the bridge. We don't know which side at this time for the temporary bridge.
For the temporary bridge. Okay. All right. Any additional questions? Seeing none, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on such short notice. I think it was important to get this information out because it is something of concern, especially as the park ramps up its programming for the summer. And making sure that the community knows how to access that part north of Altadena Drive if they're not going over that bridge. So we appreciate that. Okay, moving on to our special presentations. We have got regional planning here, and I know we've got Mitch. There he is. I see you there, Mitch.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, Chair and Council members. Thank you for inviting me back this evening to give you a presentation on the status of our rebuilding efforts. I invited Kira Barnett to join us as well. As you may know, she's our overall coordinator for rebuilding and recovery in Altadena, and our two departments are partners. Along with the fire department and the Department of Public Health. And I am trying to get our presentation on the screen. Can you see it yet?
Not yet, but it
Not
looked like
yet.
you were trying.
I certainly am trying. You'll have to forgive me.
No
I think
worries,
this.
no worries. There you
Let's
go.
see if
It's coming
okay,
up now.
great. All right. Thank you all for your understanding. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start us off, and then I'll turn it over to Kira, and we'll be happy to answer questions afterwards. So the first subject that we would like to talk about is a motion that the Board of Supervisors adopted just this morning regarding fees. So starting immediately and going forward, we're going to be deferring fees for single-family home rebuild projects if the property was occupied by the property owner before the fire. We will also be refunding fees for those folks retroactively. I met with Kira and some of the other managers from the permitting departments earlier today to start working on that process. So wanted to share that with you first. The next piece of information is our progress in reviewing and issuing rebuilding permits. So this is a screenshot from the dashboard that we have on the LA County Recovers website. As you can see, it lists the number of properties that were damaged or destroyed. It lists the number of rebuild applications that we've received. It's 734 so far. 485 of those have received a zoning clearance from regional planning. There are about 310 building plan reviews in process. And the reason there's a difference there is sometimes folks get their zoning clearance and decide to wait on the plan check process for whatever reason. It could be that they're still working with their insurance company or otherwise lining up financing. And then as you can see, 29 building permits have been issued thus far. So talking about the timelines in the process, so on the right-hand side, there's a simple diagram of the steps in the process. I know that this is something that the town council had requested and I mentioned was coming the last time I was at your meeting about 2 months ago. So all of the departments have committed to a 10 business day turnaround for our initial review, and then a 5-day turnaround time for each subsequent review as soon as we receive the additional information or corrections that we requested from the fire survivor. As I mentioned at the last meeting I attended 2 months ago, all of the permitting departments have collaborated on a streamlined process with only one application form for all 4 departments. So when you submit the application form, it starts with our department at regional planning. We issue the zoning clearance, and then we move you on to building and safety, fire, and public health behind the scenes without a need for an additional application form. So in terms of our turnaround times, I'll start by highlighting regional planning's turnaround times. This is a breakdown by month. And as you can see early on, we needed to get organized. We established a disaster recovery team with planners that are dedicated to helping the fire survivors. Once we got that in place, we got systems in place, we got the unified application process in place. As the number of applications continued to increase, we were able to bring the average business days down. Originally, we were not hitting that 10-day target, but since April, we've been able to do so. Here's a chart that shows that progress on a weekly basis over time. So the orange line is our average business day, so it's held fairly steady since April, as I mentioned. The green line are the number of applications that we've received and reviewed. The reason that line is trending down in recent weeks is we haven't reviewed all of those applications yet. But again, the number of applications has remained steady. And so as we update this chart week to week, you'll see that number go up as we review more applications each week. So Public Works has similar data. As you can see, they have data for the initial review times as well as their rechecks, and they've been on target as well. And then a similar chart with their review times. And so as the number of permit applications have increased, their review times have increased very slightly. The business days are in orange on that chart, similar to the ones that I showed you for our department. So with that out of the way, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Kira to talk about some additional topics we think may be of interest to you.
Great. Thanks so much, Mitch, and good evening. LA County has launched a new pre-approved plans program to help homeowners save time and money as they begin rebuilding. Designers can now submit home plans for pre-approval by planning and building and safety. And once approved, these plans will be added to a catalog for fire survivors to consider. These plans will have already been reviewed for compliance with the LA County zoning and building codes, significantly shortening the permitting timeline if selected. Homeowners who want to consider selecting a pre-approved plan can work directly with the designers And if it's decided to proceed with a pre-approved plan option, then review of only the site plan, energy calculations, and clearances will be required to be ready for permit issuance. This process eliminates the need for a full design from scratch, and the plans are already substantially approved, which will reduce time for fire survivors. The program includes a variety of housing options, including single-family homes and accessory dwelling units. 37 pre-approved plans have been submitted for review by planning, and planning have approved and cleared 30. 11 sets of plans have had their full design plans submitted and are under review by the building department. Another great update today is that the first pre-approved plan was cleared, Foothill Catalog Plan. And so we'll get our website updated tomorrow to include that in the catalog. And again, once plans are approved, the information will be posted online so the property owners can connect with the fire designers to consider that design. So once available, we encourage homeowners still exploring the rebuilding options to review the pre-approved plan catalog, which will be available on our county recovery website. And if you could move to the next slide, please. Thank you, Mitch. So LA County is considering innovative new methods and systems to help us move beyond traditional building and permitting approaches, including the concept of self-certification. So last month, we rolled out a new building plan self-certification pilot program. Under the program, California licensed architects and engineers can self-certify that their building plans comply with the LA County Building Code, rather than having LA County Public Works building officials conduct full building plan review. This will streamline plan review and help homeowners rebuild faster. Eligible projects include the replacement of a single-family home, accessory dwelling unit, or appurtenant structures damaged by the Eaton fire and located in the unincorporated LA County. Architects and engineers who self-certify on behalf of their clients and themselves will be responsible for the accuracy of the plans that they prepare. Plans are subject to random audit, a minimum 20% of all self-certified plans submitted to ensure code compliance. Approval from other LA County departments, including planning, public health, and fire, will continue to be required prior to issuance of a building permit, and all inspections will be performed. Details on the pilot self-certification program are on our recovery.lacounty.gov website and will continue to be updated. So far, 53 professionals have applied to register for self-certification, and 29 have been cleared to proceed with self-certifying design plans. And if we could move to the next slide, please. Thank you, Mitch. Just wanted to share a couple of additional resources. LA County has been providing all of our information in a hub on a recovery.lacounty.gov site. So as it serves as a hub for homeowners navigating the rebuilding process, we added a new Road to Rebuilding page. So it outlines each phase of recovery from the initial site cleanup to final construction and moving in so that residents can understand what steps need to be taken and in what order. The website features helpful guides on permitting, plan submission, and available programs like the self-certification and pre-approved plans that can speed up the process. We also have a mapping resources for rebuilding on our rebuilding page, which provides helpful mapping tools that allow users to view critical details about their property, including damage assessments and information such as zoning, parcel boundaries, and fire hazard areas. These interactive maps help homeowners and contractors make informed decisions about rebuilding safely and in compliance with county codes. The site also includes information on infrastructure, utilities, and environmental constraints, which are essential for designing resilient rebuilds. So together, these two sites provide a set of tools, checklists, and maps that empower fire-impacted homeowners in Altadena to rebuild safely and as quickly as possible. And moving to our last slide, please, Mitch. Just wanted to share that we're continuing our Rebuilding Together workshop series. Our next session will be a virtual session on June 28th, and it will be about fire-resistant rebuilding guide that has been created and is located on our recovery.lacounty.gov site. These virtual workshops are recorded and posted to our workshops page, So you can go back and view the slide deck and the presentations, but we hope that you can join us on June 28th for this important discussion. And that concludes our presentation, and thank you all for the time tonight.
Once again, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for coming on short notice. I do apologize. That was my fault. Council members, if you have any questions, especially if you are undergoing a rebuild yourself, this would be a great time to ask. One question that I have seen that I think would be helpful to clarify is around property line surveys or corner surveys and what is required and when. And I think there was some confusion because of what was said way early on after the fire, that property line surveys were not going to be required, that the county was going to endeavor to do some kind of mapping of existing property lines. But I do think it's important to talk about, especially in circumstances where the person rebuilding is rebuilding next door to someone who's not rebuilding. And so you may not have a general person's agreement as it relates to existing fence lines on your property as you go to rebuild. So can you just clarify? Don't all speak at once.
Yeah, you want me to? I'll start with that one. I was muted, sorry.
No
But
worries.
yeah, that's a great question. So it is a corner record survey that'll be required. So like you said, for properties that have been completely destroyed, right? Sometimes there is no fences or any structure. And so for the properties where the structures are completely destroyed, we'll need a corner record survey to identify the property boundaries. Whereas a property that maybe still has their surrounding properties, right, may not need that. So I do think for the majority of the rebuilds, right, where the structure is gone and so are the surrounding structures, it'll be that corner record survey. So what the county did do is go out and do make sure all our center line markers are there that will assist the surveyors. But what they'll do is a corner record survey again to lay out the property boundaries. Anything to add to that, Mitch?
No, you covered it. Thank you for that one.
Perfect. Thank you.
Councilmember Wong.
Two questions really quick. The public right-of-way portion of the survey, how is the Public Works or the county sort of addressing that as people rebuild?
So on the public right away, again, we did go out there and make sure all our center line controls were there. And so I'll confirm if we've completed that, but I'm pretty sure we've completed that by now. And so we did not find that our survey markers were damaged or destroyed. So that those will be there.
Thank you. And just segueing over then to rebuilding, often that's been a confusion, the public right-of-way, where then people build. And Mitch, maybe that's not a question, but I was just thinking the public right-of-way because so much of that was really sort of not really the public right-of-way in our community. So that's just an opportunity to think about there. And then the other question is prefab. How does prefab fit into this?
Great. So yeah, prefabs have always been allowed. Actually, that'll be our next rebuilding together session. We're planning for July 12th. So we do obviously have manufactured homes, mobile homes, and factory built housing options. And so the county has worked with Housing and Community Development with Pasadena and some of the other impacted jurisdictions to come up with a really helpful user-friendly guide. So they always had a what is it? Like kind of one pager that was very technical, but what we've done is create a packet that we'll be presenting at a rebuilding together session that really lays out, who has what responsibilities, right? What you do with the state, what you do with local, and for the local, what's required to be submitted. So looking forward to presenting that manufactured home, mobile home, and factory built housing option for people here shortly. Great. And Dorothy, if you're interested, I can get you that PowerPoint even in advance, so you can kind of peruse it.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
And then Mitch, you touched on this a little bit as you were talking about the process, but I think it's worth repeating because I do see folks who are very frustrated because of a misunderstanding about what a complete project looks like. that would get you to the point that a building permit is issued versus when you submit elevation plans or floor plans, and what are the difference between that and engineering plans, and then what you need to get to building permit?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, and Kira, I'll start, and then I think you can
Perfect.
probably add to that. So, as I mentioned, we have one application form for all of the departments, but we need additional information as folks go through the process. And so the application form mentions to start, we just need basic plans for regional planning to determine whether you're like for like, and whether you comply with the zoning. And so that's the site plan, the floor plan, and the elevations. And then after we issue the zoning clearance, what we've arranged is we need more detailed plans for public works. And Kira can elaborate a little bit more on what those are and what those look like. And initially, what we were doing is after we issued the zoning clearance, we were linking that clearance to the building permit application, but we weren't asking for those engineering drawings, the more detailed drawings. So fairly recently, we changed our process. So when we issue a zoning clearance at regional planning, we say, okay, now we need the more detailed plans. And we ask for folks to submit the detailed plans to us in regional planning, although we're not the ones that review them. Because when folks get to the plan check stage, we want to make sure that Kira and her colleagues have that full set of plans. And when they review it, because again, we're not the experts, but when we pass it along, if there are still things that are missing, then Public Works will let the fire survivor know as soon as possible. So that's how we've done it. There's still one application, but we do ask for additional plans, and we try to do it at the right step in the process. So it's relatively seamless for the fire survivor as well as for our two departments, so that we're making sure our colleagues in Public Works have what they need to proceed, which is not just our zoning clearance, but then those additional more detailed plans. So that's the overall structure. It is a great point to emphasize. And then Kira, please, if there's more you want to add about Public Works requirements and how we're collaborating with the fire survivors on that.
Perfect. Yeah, I think it's a great question. And so really what I say is planning, look at what can be built and where, right? So they need that site plan, floor plans, the room uses and the elevations to say what can be built and where. Then we do have a minimum plan submittal requirements document that we've prepared for rebuilds, right? That lays out, because what we're going to look at is how the structure is built, right? So we're still going to look at those architectural plans. We make sure there's enough natural light, ventilation in spaces, right? Clearances, and also the structural, right? How it's actually going to be framed, how it's going to be supported by the foundation. So we're planning only need to know what you're planning on building and where. We're going to look at that more detailed, how you build it. So we do have a great minimum plan submittal document that does lay out for architectural and structural and energy what's needed. That is on our recovery.lacounty.gov site. I'd be happy to provide a link, an attachment to it. It happens to be under our self-certification page, which is a weird place for it, but we'll get it on the road to rebuilding. And then I did want to mention that we're compiling as well a common errors and omissions document. So we did present that last night at the Altadena community meeting, but we'll develop that into a one-pager, right? Because really we want to let people know, hey, here's what we're seeing, right? Here's not what's on the plans. And another thing we want to develop is a summary of our LA County code amendments, right? So there's national codes, then you have the California have their amendments, right? Such as solars and things like that that are required. And then LA County have amendments. So we'll also get a summary guide to let a designer know if they're not as familiar with unincorporated area, what's unique and different here. So as attention's on rebuilding, look forward to coming back and providing some more of those updates once we have them available. But I can certainly share the slide deck from last night, and we'll get that up on the recovery page so you can see what some of those common errors and omissions we're seeing are.
That's great, because that was going to be my next question, because I wasn't able to attend yesterday and I was going to go back and watch, which I will. But the common errors are really helpful in getting people to not commit them so that they're not delayed on things that they don't need to be delayed on. And then the last question around this topic is, if an architect has worked in Altadena before, unincorporated LA County, and or if the property they're rebuilding was recently built. Is it possible, or I would imagine that they could submit everything at once, right? Because they have a complete set of recent enough plans that would then maybe reduce the amount of time that things go through if those plans had been recently approved within the last year or two. I'm thinking of, there was a property on my own street that was like 90% built and it's gone now. And I think they're going to rebuild the exact same home. So I would imagine that they can submit everything at once, or anybody could submit it all with the engineering plans, the structural engineering, the power all at once. And that might reduce the overall review time.
Yeah, maybe I can start on that one too, Kira. So the short answer is yes, folks can submit everything up front. And if it's a recently approved project, so for planning, if we approved it in 2020 or more recently, and somebody submits the same set of plans, we take a quick look to make sure they match, and then we pass them along to Public Works. We don't even stamp them again. We don't charge a fee. We just move it along. If it's a new project, we do accept all of the plans up front, but there's a little bit of a risk because, as Kira said, we need to look at the plans, especially on a not like for like project, and make sure they comply with current zoning rules. So the risk is if we look at the plans and we say, hey, this is something that needs a discretionary review with a public hearing. As I mentioned a couple of months ago, we always say, well, do you want to do that? Because we know public hearings take a while and they're uncertain, right? And most folks will say, I'd rather redesign. So if they redesign for that reason, or if they redesign for another reason, then they're going to have to redo all of the detailed plans, right? So that just adds to cost. So we just want to warn people about that up front so that they know the risk that they're taking. But if folks are ready and they want to submit everything, they can do that, and we'll still go through that same two-step process. Regional planning will look at it, what's being built and where, and then Public Works and Fire and Public Health will look at more detail to see how the buildings will actually be built and make sure that they comply with the relevant codes at that time.
Great. Another great question, because it's true, right? So generally, architects will design that site plan, floor plan elevations first. Going through that planning review allows, to again get that concurrence, right? Yes, this is what we're building, right? Whereas if they design that whole package and again, things come up with planning. So for example, yeah, it didn't meet it was non-like for like, and somebody decides, you know what, I will go back and make it comply with like for like, there will be those design costs, right? Time and money. But like Mitch said, we also, if something was designed to the 2019, which is the prior code cycle, or the 2023 code that we're on now, then we can just like Mitch said, take a look at those, right? And pretty much get those reissued. If it's to an older code, then the plans do need to kind of be brought to current code. So for example, solar's kicked in 2019 as a state code requirement. And so we'd look for those plans to be brought to the current code. But that's, again, simultaneous reviews. Yes, if somebody's confident, but I always recommend that consultation with planning, right? To get that level of confidence that, okay, this is likely how we're going to proceed, have the designer develop those plans. And again, the rest of the departments do look at it in the same 10 and 5. So it's not, we do review it concurrently with fire and public health. And so our average to date, I know Mitch did share that dashboard. So for the 29 plans we've issued to date, from initial submittal to planning to permit issuance, it was at 46 business days. And so we are seeing those plans be able to get approved. We're actually calling designers where we've provided corrections in the last weeks and months, kind of going, hey, when do you think you might resubmit, right? And it is, we are finding it does take some time, obviously, for the designers to revise the plans, get them resubmitted. But anything we can do to keep those moving, I think we're averaging 2 or 3 days on our rechecks. And we have been approving plans, pretty well there on the second review. I don't think any have gone to third and fourth review. So that's been great.
I did want to call out that that is an exceptionally short time frame for what we've historically seen from regional planning. I know that that doesn't necessarily make everybody feel good when it's your house and you lost it and you didn't ask to be in this fire and all of that. As a fire survivor, I get it. But that is for a county the size of LA County and the area the size of Altadena, that is, very quick and reduced time frame. So thank you for that. And Councilmember Arnzen?
Thank you, Chair. Two quick questions. So speaking to which, there's going to be a lot more permit requests coming in. Are you increasing staffing? You're efficient at the moment, but when all of a sudden that quadruples or more, what's going to happen?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the
Go
short
ahead.
answer. But yeah, Kira, if I could, yeah, so as I mentioned, we have a dedicated team of folks, but they were reassigned from what we call business as usual assignments. So I do want to give our partners in the state government a shout out. We received a grant from the Department of Housing and Community Development. It was about 2.2 million and change. And what we're doing with that grant is hiring contract planners with consulting firms. So we already have two on board that are helping us in Altadena, and we're looking at adding about a dozen more. So I was just working with my boss and our administrative deputy on that. So we will be increasing staffing overall. And then the other benefit is having planners who are currently on the disaster recovery team return to their previous assignment. And building on Chair Knapp's comment, the things that we're learning as part of disaster rebuild, the efficiencies we're coming up with, we're planning to apply that to our business as usual process, so that hopefully we can bring those average times down for all sorts of projects throughout the county. But yeah, we definitely need to ramp up. Although we have 700 applications in already, we know that's just the beginning.
Yeah, and
Thank
we
you.
actually just got new staff even this week, and inspection teams as well, because we're starting to need to increase dedicated inspectors. So yeah, we'll be surge staffing, and we'd be remiss to not mention Archistar. Mitch, I don't know if you want to take that one, but Victoria, when you were saying we'd like to know we have complete plans, there will be an option for designers to upload plans to do an AI pre-check. And so Mitch, feel free to jump in on that.
Yeah, exactly. And that came up, I think, a couple of months ago. So why are we returning, applications back to fire survivors? So there's two main reasons. One is applications are incomplete. So one of the things we're constantly doing is improving the Road to Rebuilding website, make sure our frequently asked questions are up to date, make sure the materials are understandable. And then the second part is the code compliance, right? We say it's not like for like, even if you think it is, here are the changes that you need to make. And so Archistar, as Kira mentioned, is AI software. It's going to be optional for fire survivors. It's not going to be required. We're looking to launch it in early July. And the tool will evaluate not only zoning code compliance, but building code compliance. And again, that's a partnership with the state government and some philanthropic partners, including Steadfast LA. So the county is able to use this tool at no cost, except for the staff time we're investing to make sure the AI correctly interprets our code. And there's no cost to the fire survivor as well. So our expectation is that if folks use that tool, they'll understand up front whether they comply with the code or not, and they'll have an opportunity to make those corrections. And even when we get incomplete applications, sometimes we think the AI tool may help say, for example, hey, you forgot to label this dimension. We need the height, we need the setbacks. So we are very optimistic that Archistar will be a great tool for the fire survivors. And in addition to increasing staff, we think it'll help reduce review times, because in regional planning, our staff are going to spend less time measuring the heights of buildings and the setbacks, because the AI is going to do that for us automatically. Obviously, we still need a set of human eyes to check things, but we don't have to start from scratch, so to speak. So thanks for bringing that up, Kira. We're very enthusiastic about what the Archistar tool can do for all of us.
Yeah, I really hope that will help submit those complete packages and have less back and forth, really saving time. So excited
Great,
when those
thank you. And the second question, just because I know we've got a lot of reports to get onto, is just looking for a quick answer of clarity. There's been some contradictory information about height, not adding a second floor, but height. Does that follow within the percentage of like for like, or is there, I've heard both that it has to be within that 10 or 20% increasing height. This is not increasing to a second floor. It's just taller ceilings, or is there a limitation, basically, is the question on that?
Yeah, the short answer is it's the 10% allowance.
Okay.
So I'll just use the most common example. If you had a one-story home, it has to stay at one story. You can't go from one story to two story and still be like for like. The most you
And do
can
you
do is a
consider a
10%.
second story a livable space as in a second floor? Or I'm speaking about, I have 3 residents that are asking if they increase their ceiling from 10 feet to 15 feet, is that an issue, or does that follow like for like because they are not putting on a second story?
If the short answer is if it's 10%, obviously each building is different. I would encourage folks to go to the Altadena office or email or call our team, but the bottom line is 10% increase is okay.
Okay. Okay.
Does that answer your question really, Nick? I feel like it
Well,
doesn't.
it still leaves it, lingering
Ambiguous.
because
Well,
they're getting different information from that site, and they've heard
okay.
3 different answers. And the main 2
Well,
answers are
yeah.
you can go up to 15 feet, but past that 10% as long as you're not building a second floor. And the other answer has been no, whether it's a second floor or not, you can only go up this much. So
Okay.
I'm hearing what you're saying, but it's been contradicted. So should I go with what you're saying, or should we instruct those people to give that one clear answer rather than giving 2 different answers?
Yeah, well, Nick, obviously I'm concerned if folks are getting different answers, right? And that's why we want the website to be updated. So from my perspective, you can go up to 110%, right, on height. But as I mentioned, I know different properties are different. And obviously, the folks on our team understand the zoning regulations and how they apply to individual properties in much better detail than I do. So why don't I do this? I'll put my email address in the chat for everybody, but especially for you, Nick. And you're welcome to send me an email and let me work with the team to try to make sure I give you a very accurate and comprehensive answer that covers the different scenarios that folks are coming to you with. And then, as I mentioned, with those individuals and others, I would encourage them to consult with planners, but if they are getting different answers from different people or the answers aren't clear, I would also encourage them to elevate it to me, to contact me, and I can help sort that out. And depending on the results, we'll go ahead and update our website. We'll provide more training to the planners. We'll make sure everybody's on the same page, because I know getting different answers from different people or getting unclear answers is probably the most frustrating thing for the fire survivors right now.
Thank you, Mitch. And I would clarify that the answers don't match each other. It's not individuals getting 2 different answers. It's them discussing it with each other and one person getting one answer, one person. That's where the confusion is. So that may lay within what you're talking about, that there might be individualized reviews. So great. I look forward to that. Thank you. I'll reach out. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here. I know it's late. I know you've had a lot of late nights and you continue to. So we appreciate your presence here, especially because it really does help clarify some of the things that don't necessarily get answered on the Monday community meeting, or that are lingering because there's still confusion. So we certainly appreciate you doing your best to try to do that and updating the site. I recommend everyone go to the site because there's more information there than I think people realize. So thank you so much. Okay, council members, we are going to get through our committee reports as quickly as possible. I do not want anyone to feel rushed, but I do want to call out that it is 9:18, which is late for us, and we have a number of reports. So skipping land use, we are going to go to election, and I just wanted to say that Council Member Molden has stepped up to chair both the special election and the upcoming election in November. So I am happy for her and I'm happy for us, and I thank her. And she is going to need help, both from council members that are not seeking reelection or are not running in this cycle, and from community members. So we will certainly get her some help as well, but I wanted to turn it over to her. Go ahead.
Thank you. I could actually combine education and election, if that's okay with you guys. I can try and consolidate it. That way the context will help. But I'm going to start with education, and I just want to let everybody know that we're excited to announce that the ATC is in our 4th year partnering with PUSD and the ATC Summer Internship Program. Our program offers local high school students the opportunity to engage in civic life, contribute to community initiatives, and develop valuable skills. Our interns will help us with communications, digital outreach, meeting recaps, and bring fresh new ideas and energy to our work. This year, we are fortunate to have 3 talented interns join us. I've invited them to briefly introduce themselves. Let's see, Jamie, hi. Would you like to start off?
Hi everyone. Thank you for allowing me to, I just want to start with thanking you guys for allowing me to participate in this meeting. My name is Jamie Kitani. I'm a student at John Muir High School. I'm a part of the Business and Entrepreneurship Academy at school. I applied to this internship because I wanted to get more involved in the community, especially because of recent events. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. And next we have Mitch.
Hi, my name is Mitch Gonzalez Chavez. I'm a rising senior at John Muir High School and a dual enrollment student earning my associate's degree in communications. I am also part of the Business and Entrepreneurship Academy at John Muir. I applied for this internship because I'm personally passionate about civic engagement and I want to better understand how local government can create real change, especially by including youth voices. I personally want to major in for my 4-year in pre-law or political science and government, so this speaks to me right here. Lots of new jargon though, but I'm excited. I'm truly grateful for this opportunity and I'm excited to meet and learn from everyone here while serving the Altadena community.
Thank you, Mitch. And last but not least, we have Pepe.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pepe Alexander, and I am currently attending Pasadena High School, and I'm also in the Law and Public Service Academy. I am clearing my AA, but not like Mitch's. But I also I joined as an intern for the Altadena Town Council because I just really want to be more involved in civic engagement as I already volunteer throughout many communities, and just want to become more involved. And just Altadena is a community that I'm a part of, and many like people such as my friends and family members are also a part of. So I just wanted to become more.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And so they will be with us until the end of July, and they'll be here participating in our committee meetings, offering feedback, and also helping with special assignments. And one of the assignments that we have is our special election for Census Tract 4612. And if you go on our website, and for those of you who are not sure if you fall within the boundary, it has a map, but basically we're west of Lake Avenue, east of Eaton Canyon, south of New York Drive, north of Mendocino. And then there's a couple of small streets that are within that border as well. So we're asking any of our neighbors that are interested in running to apply. All that information will be on our altadenatowncouncil.org website. And on it, you will find the application, the rules, and our welcome letter, of course, and also our bylaws and our ethical standards for you to review and sign that you've received those. We also ask that you include a letter of qualification that we'll post to share, as long with a $35 application fee. And all of that can be delivered to the Altadena Community Center at 730 East Altadena Drive in Altadena. So we're having our announcement today, June 17th. The application deadline is July 11th at 5 p.m. And then we'll have our special election that will be held in our next town council meeting on July 15th. And that way the candidates will have an opportunity to present themselves and then the council will vote. And with that, in conjunction with our interns, I've asked them to create election flyers, which Vice Chair Aronson will share. I've emailed all the council members the images that the interns have worked on. And what we are going to do is have the election committee. So if anybody who's interested in joining me with the election committee, we will vote on the final flyer. So if any of the council members have any feedback or opinions, we can share that now, or we could just discuss it during the committee. But that is my presentation for both election, the special election, and our education committee.
Thank you so much for that. And I wanted to give a special shout out to the interns. We appreciate your being here. We appreciate what you're going to do for us. And we appreciate sharing all of the knowledge that we have with you. Council Member Molden, I just want to make sure that we reach out to Liliana Garcia at the community center. It's been a long time since she's helped us with an election. And so she'll need to be made aware of what's coming her way. So appreciate that. Does anyone have any questions about this particular special election before we move on? Go ahead, Councilmember Wilkins.
I just want to say these flyers look great, and thanks for getting these interns involved. My son is also Muir. He's interested in the same thing that the young man was interested in. It's kind of amazing. Great speech, by the way. This is great. I'm looking forward to getting a great candidate to work along with me these late nights.
Let's not advertise the late nights so much. Okay, thank you so much. And Nick, I don't know if you're sharing or whomever is sharing, if you want to. Oh, that is you, Nick. Thanks so much. And thanks so much for taking this on, Councilmember Molden. And we're going to move on to the Legislative Committee.
Yes, in lieu of the fact that the planning already noted the motion the Board of Supervisors did for the permits, I will skip my announcement today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Councilmember Morona. Moving on to Renters Protection and Recovery, Councilmember Green.
Well, mine will be quick as well. Welcome, interns. Woohoo! So glad to have you guys. I hope I can get some of your help. It was a very eventful month, but I'll try to just make it quick. We were so blessed to get $50 gift cards that we were able to distribute just for seniors. The Latino Association gave us these cards. We passed them out. We had a lot of committee members help us do that. We have a few more that have to be used by June 30th. So we're really excited about that. I also wanted to just share this one important thing. The Rosetown Apartments will be opening in October. That's a link that we shared in our newsletter to the seniors. That is at 170 North Halsted in Pasadena. I will put the link in there so that people that are interested can put their information in the interest link so that they can be considered. It's an affordable housing, 48-unit building. They reached out to us. Very fantastic for people that need low income. And also we're going to be hosting a tenant resource workshop that we were requested to do by the retirement community on Lincoln. So we will be sending out information and hopefully the interns can help us with that. And so we're excited about that. Our next Renters Protection and Recovery Committee meeting will be Wednesday, August the 6th, because we are doing that renters resource type town hall in July. We attended a Juneteenth celebration at Metropolitan Church where we were able to also pass out information about the Renters Protection Committee. So things are going well. Thank you, Chair Knapp and Isis and Kim Yu for your support. I certainly appreciate it.
Nikki, I see your hand. Councilmember Green, do we have a location? Now that we know we can't use the community center, do you have a location for the community meeting or the town hall?
Yes. So the Friends Retirement Home that's right there on Lincoln, I don't have the address right in front of me, but it will be available on our website, and it will also be available with flyers that we're going to pass out. And I'll bring some to our community partners like the library and Rotary Club so that we can announce that date. They're giving me the date next week. It'll probably be the second or third week in July, though.
Great. And then if we get that to Councilmember Molden and
Yeah,
Marona, we'll get it on all our socials.
I
Great, great, great.
know. I'm so
Very happy.
excited.
Thank you so much for all your hard work.
You're welcome.
Nikki, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to add, because I forgot to mention it, that we have neighborhood housing services at the library every day right now. So if people reach out to them, they can set up appointments they're specifically working on counseling for the Mortgage Relief Fund through Cal
Yes.
Assist, but they're also, as I talked to Darlene about on Saturday, helping people bridge that gap too. So they haven't been as busy at all the last few days. So if people even show up, I would assume that they could get helped.
And I'll get their information and put it on the flyer too, Nikki. Thank you.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So they've
That's
been
great.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yep,
thanks
yep.
for calling that out. Okay, any other questions? We're moving on to our bylaws committee. Councilmember Chipola.
Alrighty, y'all. So at this moment, I have Councilmember Sutherland, Stuart Gordon, Molden, myself, and our parliamentarian Chris O'Malley, who have responded. And welcome to the team. You guys are on the bylaws committee. It would be my preference to have half of our census tracts represented. I'm not going to put anyone on blast, but now's your opportunity to hop on board to this exciting new venture, and send me an email after this meeting. And if I missed anybody, by the way, I'm sorry. Send me a reminder because I lost your email. Okay. And we'll be looking to schedule our first meeting before our next council meeting. Any votes, anything needs a vote, we'll come back to this committee for review. Thank you. Concludes the report.
Great. Thank you so much, Councilmember Chipola. Our communications committee vice chair Arnzen.
Thank you, Chair. Our committee meets the second Monday of each month and always welcomes new members in the form of community volunteers. We've spent over 2 years putting programs in place like the new neighbor welcome packs, council member retreats, council internship that education committee under council member Molden's guidance has brilliantly taken over. Many more, but at the heart of our intentions was always to effectively and efficiently reach Altadenans to be of service to the council and the flow of information to the public. On Monday, last night, we revisited our structure to make that happen. And in the coming weeks, hope to have as much of it in play as possible, including a long-awaited website overhaul, a comprehensive email list of Altadena leaders, a monthly blast, including recaps of these meetings, and a solid media list. With these in place, we hope to have the foundation of a workable and sustainable structure to continue getting important information to the public. None of this would be possible without the incredible team that makes up the committee. And in particular, a quick shout out, I want to thank Ari Kennedy and Kristen Dockery for their work the past couple months in particular, as well as our correspondence secretary, Connor Chipola, and council members Morona and Molden for keeping us updated on socials and on our websites. They and others have been stepping up in this time of crisis while dealing with their own displacement and trauma. So thank you to them and to all our incredible volunteers, past, present, and future. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much for that, and thank you for the work of that committee. It's been a long road to get where we are, and we have definitely gotten there. So appreciate that for sure. We can now skip the education committee because we consolidated that, and now we've got the Altadena Eaton Fire Recovery Fund Advisory co-chair Morona.
Yes, so the Altadena Eaton Fire Recovery Fund, we had hoped to get to 250,000. We had a billboard put up. We've been working on trying to get some fundraising going, but we need to get the money to the community. We are looking to get that done as soon as possible. So with be on the lookout for that forthcoming and us to get the money out to people as soon as possible. It will be an application online, as well as we will be getting them out to the community. So we will have all of that information on the eatonrecoveryfund.org, as well as on the town council website forthcoming. I would be looking next week. I don't have a particular date exactly yet, but I would look next week for that, and we will get that application out and get people the money that they deserve. And then we will start continue to fundraise so that there's more money going to the community. Thank you very much. That's all I
Thank
got.
you so much for
Mhm.
that. We'll be definitely looking forward to that. I know that we've gotten emails from folks in Altadena that could certainly use the help. So
Yep.
thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Okay, we're going to move into general public comment. Councilmember Morona. Is that no? I'm sorry, Councilmember Chipola.
You can't take it back.
Melissa's
Melissa has to
like,
do it
please
now.
no.
All right. As a reminder, public comments received through noon today will be read into the record during now. ATC does not respond to comments during the meeting, but if the residents submitting noted a desire for follow-up, the appropriate council member will reach back to them. Public comments are limited to 2 minutes. And we have one public comment tonight. It comes to us by way of Bryce Butcher. Bryce writes, we live on Rubio Street. As we are trying to move forward with the rebuild process, we and our neighbors have found that our 60 to 100-year-old garage, home, driveways, and fence lines encroach on each other's lot lines. To rebuild, my apologies. To rebuild like for like would not be possible because of this. It would also subject us to many more costs to move driveways, pools, and gates that survived. We all agree we'd like to keep things how they were and rebuild in the same place. But getting lot line adjustments is said to take up to 9 months and would delay us significantly. Can anything be done to expedite this? Chris. That concludes public comment.
Councilmember Chipola, do we know the census tract for
Sorry,
that comment?
I had it muted to limit the beep. Say that again, Victoria.
Oh, I was going to say, do we know the census tract for that particular public comment? Is it ours, 4601?
Rubio Street.
It could be.
Yeah,
We
that's
should
all I
find
got.
out for sure so we can, okay, sounds good. Okay, that was the only public comment.
Yep.
Great, thank you for that. We're going to move on to census tract reports. We have 5 of them. So we will start with 4602.
Thank you, Chair. These census tract reports are intended to focus on our individual tracts and report any specialized updates or concerns within those tracts. I mentioned that because 4602, which is represented by Councilmember Yu and myself, suffered a devastating nearly 90% destruction, and there really isn't much to report, but I did want to touch on 2 quick important things. Farnsworth Park, while I literally during this meeting am still receiving trails of information, has not yet been set on a timeline or detailed path for reconstruction, but it remains heavy on the thoughts of Parks and Rec, and they look forward to returning the park to its former glory. Also, on a somber note, of the 18 fatalities from the fires, 17 names and locations have been made public. Out of respect for families who I have not talked to all of them yet, I won't mention names tonight, but I was hit hard with the fact that 10 of the 17 were residents of 4602. So I wanted to send continued condolences to the families and neighbors who lost someone in tract 4602 and beyond. These people were beautiful members of our community and they will not be forgotten. I know they're on the mind of my fellow council members in the community as well. And I look forward to helping to continue developing a plan to memorialize those we lost. I might get in trouble for this, but one plan I definitely am pushing forward on is to take the empty lot located at Concha, Marengo, and Mount Curve and create a living memorial to everyone we lost and the devastation in general, filling it with native trees and plants to create a passive walkthrough where local schools and organizations can adopt sections of over the next few years to nurture and cultivate growing a beautiful community created path and tree canopy to stand as a memory of what we went through, a much needed effort to combat the heat island effect from the loss of so many beautiful trees in our town, and a natural place of healing and reflection and a testament to our resilience. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that. I did just want to make a comment about the fatalities in Altadena from this fire. There was not a comprehensive list that existed of all of our 18 neighbors. So I took a Saturday morning and I cross-referenced the medical examiner site with the sheriff's missing persons flyers, along with news reports and GoFundMe's. And I created a comprehensive list, which I then returned back to the county. There is one of our neighbors that has not been I believe that the person has been identified, but their file or their record is not listed on the ME site. They're listed as a Jane or John Doe, which I do not think is actually true. So I did reach out to Anish Soraya, and Anish is working to get that person identified so that we will have an accurate and factual record going into perpetuity about who was lost in this fire and where. So once I have that last person, then I will get it back out to everyone. I have all of the census tract represented as well, so we know which neighbors were lost. So thanks, Nick, for flagging that. I appreciate it. Moving on to 4610.
Okay, thank you. I'm pleased to share that the LA County has placed flags along Lincoln Avenue for a second time since last year. The initiative was spearheaded by our previous chair, Veronica Jones, as well as Chair Supervisor Barger, and their advocacy for including West Altadena in a celebration of Labor Day, Veterans Day, and 4th of July is very much appreciated. At the same time, I'd like to acknowledge that and address the reports of ICE activity in Pasadena and near Altadena. Such reports have been causing anxiety and fear within our community. And I want to just reaffirm that our community remains firmly committed in ensuring that each resident, regardless of immigration status, is treated with dignity, respect, and compassion. And we'll continue to partner and make sure that all of our neighbors feel safe, supported, and cared for, especially during times of uncertainty. Thank you.
Thank you for that. 4611.
Yes, hi. I want to give two reports. The first update is on the post office. Communication we've been having about replacing our post office on Lake. And this conversation was with the post office representative, Mr. Ross Spurgeon. And he said that they will continue to collaborate with the landlord at the existing site to rebuild on the original location. Also, they said they are actively engaging with local partners to establish a community postal unit. They will offer essential retail services. And I would like to also say that we invited them to come and participate in our meeting tonight. And they said that they will take a closer look at our request and consider how it aligns with their operations. So I just want to put that on the record that they were invited to attend our meeting. And the other report, I have received an email from one of the residents in 4611, and they were concerned about being excluded several ways. They were excluded when they went to apply for one of the Red Cross second round of funding. They said that they were told they were not in the burn scar zone, and then they were excluding with the Altadena Community Preservation Fund. So they're concerned that Census Tract 4611 is being excluded for a lot of much needed funding, especially for seniors. So the question is, do we know why? Is it the burn zone? Who made that decision? Who do we need to talk to have that revisit? Because personally, I feel that all of Altadena should be included. I don't think anywhere in Altadena should not be included for as who was, if there was a priority in burn zone, because everybody's affected. You know, everybody have houses burned, whether it's to the east, north, south, or west. So I'm requesting that we look into that as a town council.
I will say that neither the Preservation Fund nor the other was the council included in the discussion of or the determination of who was going to be eligible. And my own census tract, which had 60% of its structures burned, was not included either. So the best course of action is to take it up with those people who are running those particular funds, because how they're making their decisions, I am completely unaware of. The Red Cross has used the DINS report, even though they've been asked not to use the DINS report. And so we have to hold them accountable directly for what is happening in Altadena as it relates to grants, grant funding, and these programs. So we have to get with those that are launching these funds. I was surprised myself with the Preservation Fund, and I am completely unclear as to how they came up with the criteria that they came up with. So we'll take it up with those fund folks directly.
One more question. Now, the dams, now, if the dams report is not including all of Altadena, then we need to have a discussion about that. I mean,
The
how?
DINS report is completely closed. There's nothing to be done with the DINS report.
Okay.
Every agency has been notified that they are not to use it for inclusion or exclusion, including our insurance providers. Yet they still do. So at least with insurance, if you're being if you're being excluded because of your exclusion from the DINS report, then it has to be reported to the insurance commissioner's office, because that is a practice that they are not supposed to engage in. I've made the same request myself of the Red Cross, because we had that problem with the second round of funding, even the first round of funding to some degree.
Right.
And they're not supposed to be using it for inclusion or exclusion. Just for clarification, the DINS report, and I know we lost Captain Sprangle, or Chief Sprangle, was literally like eyeballs on property. It was never intended to be a thorough and complete representation of what was burned and to what degree. They literally walked around, and they did not go into properties, onto properties. They didn't look into windows. They had no idea what level of smoke damage or ash damage or whatever was there. They were basically reporting what they saw from the perimeter of the home. And so it's unconscionable to me that agencies use it in the way that they do to exclude folks that are certainly in need.
So
So
who was, and I may have missed it, who actually is responsible for the DINS report?
it's a disaster report. So it's done from, in this case, it was either LA County Fire or Cal OES. Kim might know for sure, but it was one or the other of those agencies, and they could have been working together. But they are using it to determine the level of destruction within an incident like ours. That's it. It's not supposed to then be used by these other agencies. So that's the problem. And then once they close it, they don't reopen it. So once it's complete, it's considered complete. And that's what creates the problem, because now these map lines exist that people are using in ways they're not supposed to use.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. 460302.
So I'll be quick. And piggyback on off what you guys just spoke about. I spoke with a lady by the name of Diana Pena Ramirez from the Red Cross. I had two of my constituents reach out to me, I mean, pretty bad off, and they were telling me that they had gotten denied for Red Cross funds. I sent her a letter. I advised her that these fire zones are inadequately zoned, right? So I was happy to report that she was able to get those people approved. But I sent her, I'm not saying that's, you know how they say on the commercial, these aren't typical results. But what I will say is that reaching out to her certainly played a part. This one guy was homeless. He was able to get out of his hotel, get money, and get placed in another one. So that was, and I can put her name and email in the chat. Councilmember Stuart Gordon, that may help too. If for some of your people, it helped me because I just reached out to her because she was sending us all these emails saying they would help us. That's the good report for my census tract. The bad report is that there's a facility called the Sycamores facility that Councilmember Kim, you and I attended a grand opening for. Well, last week I attended a town hall for that community. They're very upset about this. This is a mental youth home. So they're very upset about the home being there. They don't feel like they're getting enough sheriff activity when they call, and they feel really dangerous about that. So I'm not sure how to handle that. I think they may need resources, but they are not happy about this facility being there. The guy that's over, Joe Ford, is working with them to address their concerns, but he did have us there. It's right in my census tract, right by JPL on I think it's called El Nido Drive. So we went to that, and that's they wanted me to make sure that those concerns were expressed tonight. They want to be heard. They want to make sure the sheriff comes out when they call when these kids are having these episodes. So
I think it would be important, and I see that Acting Captain Marquez is still here, for you to take this directly to him, have the conversation so that you
Okay.
can get some historical context from
Okay.
his perspective, and then figure out a path forward that
Okay.
would be helpful to everyone that's over there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Captain Marquez, I hope you heard that if you're still actively participating. And then
I heard it.
Oh, you heard it. Okay, great. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Captain.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Councilmember Green. Are you done?
No, that was basically it. And sort of like Councilmember Stewart was saying, they're really upset about the fire zone. That's a big deal. They're calling me all the time about that. Like they're getting denied based on this zone. So, yeah.
I think please remind me to take this to Anish. I'm not sure that that's the appropriate place. It might be better with Anders Corey, but we absolutely need to do better on the way this information is being used. So let me see if I can help folks help themselves by trying to figure out what we're going to do about that. And Captain Marquez put in the chat, Darlene, to please reach out to him and his contact information. And then Vi, I'll definitely get back to you with what I hear about how we can help folks that are being excluded from the DINS map. And then we have 4612.
So quickly, because we're so short on time, just for the election, I just wanted folks to participate from this census tract, because I think right now every seat on the town council will decide what kind of Altadena we're going to have in 5 years, and maybe even sooner. So folks, show up, participate, be my colleague, and let's make Altadena great. And I have a full little statement that Nick can put into the record, but I want to go rest. I'm done. Thanks.
Yeah, and just to echo that it is, the mechanism for special election exists so that folks can join the council at times where we've had a resignation, or even in the case of other council members, a death. So it is one way to not have to necessarily campaign your first year out, but then pick it up by your next year once you've got your feet underneath you. So if you are interested and you live in the boundaries of 4612, please, please, please submit an application, and you'll find all of that information on the Altadena Town Council website. All right. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I see that Councilmember Yu is going to do it. Go. You can't even unmute herself fast enough. All right, motion to adjourn.
That we adjourn.
Yes. Second. All right. Thank you, and thanks to our interns. This is late for you. Thank you for being here on a summer evening. We appreciate you so much, and thanks, Nikki, for staying. Bobby from Pasadena Media. Lee, I see you're still here, and Captain Marquez. So if you guys need information that's in the chat, take it before we X out of here. All right, you got 10 seconds. 5. No, I'm just kidding. All right, thanks, everybody.
Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Hope to see you guys Thursday. Have a good one.
See you Thursday.
Bye-bye.